What's going on? I am Nando.
And I am DJ.
And I'm Diggins.
And this is Mostly Nitpicking, a podcast where every week we pick apart a piece of pop culture by looking exclusively at the details. Woohoo! This week, the dreaded or famed MARVELPALOOZA. We got both. We got a Black Widow movie and a finale, as far as I'm concerned, and a Loki finale of season 1. And we're gonna, we'll talk about both. We'll do spoilers. We'll do Loki last, since it's the more spoilable of the two. But, yeah, it's all Marvel all the time, baby.
Yeah.
Whoa, just like the American media landscape.
Yeah, I was gonna say, this is how you'll wake up every morning. Yeah, the
alarm,
little clock in your house will be like, "Hey, sugar, it's all Marvel all the time. It's 5 o'clock."
Is that your Mickey Mouse?
No, it's my whatever her name is.
It's
the
his
clock
Miss
woman.
Minutes.
Miss Minutes. Oh,
yeah.
God. I thought, never mind.
You mean Miss Tara Strong?
Yeah, I feel like my Miss
Strong
Minutes
indeed.
is a little like, my Miss Minutes sucks, but I wasn't really leaning. I wasn't trying very hard because I was closer to my. I feel like Mickey is very like even higher and squeakier than that. You know?
Yeah.
It's me, Mickey Mouse.
Did somebody mention the door to darkness?
Yeah.
I feel like you were in like a Mr. Hanky territory.
Yeah.
Howdy how, like that kind of deal.
Yeah, Miss Minutes is she's got like a she doesn't have a high voice for a woman.
Yeah,
she has a high voice for me.
It's a light southern charm, darling. I'm just here to guide you along your way and get files and anything you need. I'm Miss Minutes. Come on, Loki, get your nose out of them books and start doing an investigation.
The dialect was a little interesting. Yeah, I want to say that was like a more Bayou kind of Miss Minutes.
Like a Gambit more. Miss Minutes.
I feel like Miss Minutes.
You
Yeah.
Wow.
I feel like Miss Minutes comes from like, I don't know, Tennessee, and she went to college in Virginia. You know, so like she's got an accent,
kinds.
but it's not that much of her tone. For people that don't know, Miss Minutes is the villain of Black Widow.
That
is yeah.
It'd be very confusing.
Miss
for
Minutes is an
listeners.
evil clock that's trying to kill Black Widow. Now we're not spoiling any Loki stuff, except for that Miss Minutes is a thing that exists in the show, on the marketing and stuff. But yeah, and we're gonna talk about Black Widow. We're gonna talk about Loki. It's gonna be great.
I'm so excited.
And we'll start with Black Widow, probably, right? Like, we're going to start with it.
Yeah, like, we should do that. And
let's do that.
if we started with Loki, this would be a 10-hour podcast.
Maybe.
As opposed to the 5-hour podcast it's going to be.
Yeah.
You know what? I think we just get into it.
If we started with Loki, it would be a 5-hour podcast with a 4.5-hour Loki bit, and then, like, 10 minutes of Black Widow and 20 minutes of Rex and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
I am in charge of the IMDb summary today.
You are.
The arbiter of fate.
Yes. I am going to give you guys... this is going to be an interesting one. I'll tell you that right now.
Okay.
We're talking about 2021's Black Widow, directed by Kate Shorthand, written by Eric Pearson, Jack Schaefer, and Ned Benson. Jack Schaefer, by the way, is the whatchamacallit person, the WandaVision person, and the Captain Marvel person, I believe. I believe Jack Schaefer also wrote Captain Marvel. So
he's the only person that he's Marvel's woman guy. When you got to do something about a woman, you tap this dude.
I think it's a woman. I think it's Jacqueline, like Jack. But she calls herself JAC.
Call this lady then.
Yeah.
Diggins is canceled. You done, Diggins. You canceled.
Yeah, the joke is when you want a woman to sit around and talk, and then you want her to fly through the air and shoot laser beams and stuff at the end, you call Jack Schaefer. Because she knows how to write the parts where they sit around and talk in the beginning and the parts where they fly around and do laser beams. They probably gave this script to Jack Schaefer, and she was like, they were like, all right, I know what it's going to seem like we want you to do, but you actually don't have to have Black Widow fly around at the end of this. 'Cause obviously that character can't fly. And Jack Schaefer was like, all right, fellas. You'll see, Kevin. You'll see. It'll give you a nice surprise.
In my defense, I would believe that Marvel would hire a man to be their guy who writes women for them.
Oh,
That's true.
No.
That's
not,
very, very sensitive.
Not in the Kevin Feige era. In the Ike Perlmutter era, for sure. I don't think Ike Perlmutter thinks women know how to, like, I don't know.
Oh, man,
type.
do you know what else Jack Schaefer wrote?
What?
What, Loki?
No.
Oh, what?
Olaf's Frozen Adventure.
Oh.
Wow.
I haven't seen it, but now I feel like I have.
It's
Really?
not
you didn't
good.
You didn't see Coco in theaters?
Hell no. Because of that, I said I'll wait until it comes out and I don't have to watch it with its dumb little thing, which maybe now is awesome. Who knows? Anyway, you guys,
No,
Kate
you were
Shorthand.
wise.
We got all the greats are back. Scarlett Johansson is back. Florence Pugh, David Harbour, Rachel Weisz, Ray Winstone, William Hurt, O.T. Fagbenle, and another one, which we'll get to. But guys, the IMDb summary, I will put hard money. I'll put $5 that neither of you will get anywhere near it.
All right.
Oh,
Sounds
God.
good.
Yep.
Feel good.
And we'll Venmo it right now if you get it right. But we'll start with, I don't remember, Diggins.
I get to choose.
Oh, okay. Yeah, right. Yeah.
I'm
The returning
biggest
loser usually gets to pick, yes.
All right. Let's do it. DJ,
but
what do you want? You want to go first or second?
Your instincts were correct. I would like Diggins to go first.
Very good. All right, Dickens, Black Widow 2021. What is the IMDb summary?
Okay, Nando's betting that there's no way either of us gets it, so it's got to be a weird one.
Yep.
It's usually how it goes.
Okay. On the run from the American government, Natasha Romanoff must reunite with her old family to fight some dark shadows of her past.
All right. DJ, what about you?
All right. After being apprehended by a bureaucratic organization, our hero must learn to face his past and reevaluate his future in order to save the ones he loves.
Now, I think there might be an issue here.
Yeah.
I know. What are you guys talking about?
I mean, DJ took
totally
a swing
got
at a
it.
weird thing. I got to give it to Diggins.
No!
Because Diggins used the name Natasha Romanoff, which was as close as either of you got.
Wait, no, we were doing a thing. I thought we were doing a thing.
Oh, we were doing a thing, but you were wrong. Like, no, trust me. I'll say it, and you'll get where I was going with this. That Diggins wins by virtue of saying the name of the character.
I'm not going to protest.
We'll do it
You're
again.
not going to protest after you deliberately threw it? I should hope not.
Well, DJ,
really
you just
threw it.
you just like prepped for a Loki one, which we will do next.
That's what
and
we were. What? No.
Well,
we were,
yeah.
I thought we were just doing Loki.
What are you talking
Guys.
about?
What?
DJ.
No.
What?
No.
Oh my god.
DJ is you can live DJ gaslighting us right
yeah,
now.
DJ got hit in the face
Gaslight-
with red dust 5 minutes ago, and he forgot what movie this is.
No, Gaslight. No, we're doing Loki. We're
Oh my
totally
God.
doing Loki.
So we'll do Loki after this. Here's the IMDb summary for Black Widow, the movie I described with all those words before. Here we go.
Oh man.
Black Widow, a film about Natasha Romanoff in her quests between the films Civil War and Infinity War.
Is that actually
Wow.
it?
That's it. Yep.
It's highly utilitarian, huh?
Yeah, that's
Well-
Marvel for you. That's the only thing. People are like, I'm gonna go see this movie, but in what films? In between which films does it take place? And IMDb is like, we got you covered. Here's
Honestly,
two.
I feel better that I did my bit because I wouldn't have came even close, and I probably wouldn't have said the character name. So yeah, I think Diggins gets it. Like
Diggins absolutely gets it, and
in every reality,
And
in every
here's-
timeline, Diggins gets it.
here's how I think we do this.
I am
think,
an inevitability.
I think we do Loki next in like the next segment of the podcast with Diggins in the driver's seat, and then me and DJ.
Man.
You know, because I
Instant
can't.
turnover.
Yeah, it feels unfair for me to do it, be out of the game twice, like for but also no, so I don't know. But Black Widow, Diggins, what'd you think?
Of Black Widow? It's pretty good. It's not a perfect movie. I think it runs into some trouble by the end, which you could argue is because it doesn't set things up properly, but I still think there's a lot about it that works. I like the family stuff that it's doing with Black Widow and her old, like, fake American spy family. I like Florence Pugh and her work in this one. I like her work in general. I like her work in this one. I hope that she keeps getting to do some indie movies and doesn't just be Yelena for the rest of her life.
I have some news for you, Diggins.
Take the money where you can get it. Like I've got nothing against it. As long as she gets into Paddington, then she can. Listen, I don't care what she does.
I don't begrudge her taking the money. Absolutely. I just hope that she still makes a Midsummer here and there.
Sure, or Little Women. Yeah, I'll skip a Midsummer for a Little Women. Midsummer, I feel like aged weird for me. But Little Women, I come back to it and that was great. She was great in it.
But yeah, it like I said, it has some weird like last act stuff. It never quite comes together in the way I was hoping. There's something that annoys a lot of people that I don't really care about, but I'm sure we'll talk about. But overall, good chemistry between Scarlett Johansson and Florence Pugh. David Harbour's really funny. The whole family dynamic angle, I think, works pretty well. And pretty good movie. Upper half of Marvel movies, I'd say.
Very good. DJ, what about you? What'd you think of Black Widow?
So I left the movie theater. I was like, oh, this is pretty good. I just left overall pretty positive note. Despite my shit theater experience, but that is neither here nor there.
We will get to it.
Just
we will
bring the witch to the highest hill, DJ. I don't know how many times I can tell you this. Just feed her the water from the tiniest trickle of the stream.
Unless the witch is gonna murder teenagers, Hansel and Gretel style, then I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't think we're getting there.
Witches love that. It'd be like whatchamacallit. It'd be like the other other movie, Hocus Pocus. The witches love eating kids.
Yeah, you said that like it's not a thing witches do.
Yeah.
I mean, all right. Well, then maybe that's the secret. Forgive my ignorance. Anyway, I left pretty positive. Upon thinking on it further, because I tend to be very in the moment reactionary, which we will talk about in an hour or whatever.
If we're lucky.
Yeah, I like upper half of Marvel movies. Sure, I think that the movie took a swing at being a legitimate spy movie, and I don't mean legitimate spy movie last 4 Bond movies, which are just weird action movies, or even the latest Mission Impossible movies, older Bond movies, or the Bourne Identity,
or Boss Baby, a spy,
or Boss Baby. Yeah,
spy.
What does it mean to be a spy? And they were kind of hinting at it, but they never really got there. Overall, had a pretty bad villain. I hated Taskmaster and others, so that kind of sucked. And it was good. It was good. It's a good movie. You should see it. Buy it on Disney Plus or go to support your local theater or whatever. And it's enjoyable. But lasting impact, I got nothing. It's there with Ant-Man for me or Doctor
Wow! How dare you?
Unbelievable.
How dare you compare this to a bad movie like Ant-Man?
Wow. Okay. Anyway. I don't mean to be down on it. I really don't. I feel like the Marvel bar is so high, and it's just, I think the problem is that where this movie sits, it's so awkward because it came out after Endgame where she died, and the stuff behind the movie, why they couldn't have a black movie for so long because dickhead McFuckface was women suck. Ike Perlmutter.
Ike Perlmutter, Donald Trump's friend, Ike Perlmutter.
Yeah, fuck that guy. So
you mean almost head of the Department of Veteran Affairs?
Yeah.
Oh God. So yeah, everything Diggins said is super accurate. Everything that's good about this movie is good. David Harbour, Florence Pugh, ScarJo, that's all good. I just feel where I land with the movie, better half, cool. Anything interesting? Specifics, sure, but overall, go see it. It's good, and Marvel movies tend to be good, and that's a good thing. So that's what I got.
I mostly agree with both of you. I think it's pretty good. I remember being worried about it because it just seemed like a movie that I didn't think. When we were on our way to the theater, I was like, listen, Hannah, you're probably not going to like it. Or not you're probably not going to like it. That wasn't what I said. But I was like, listen, it's probably going to be fine. I was very, I'm going to go see it on Thursday because that's the rules. I have to go to a movie theater to watch these movies on Thursday if there's no screening or whatever. And then and she's like, I'll come. And I was like, you don't have to. It's fine. You can not go. I didn't make you go to see whatever the last thing we did was, Fast and Furious, because but this one, I was like,
You're
you
a
might.
bad person.
Yeah, right. I was like, you might like it, but it might be, it might not be great, whatever. And I think maybe I set my expectations a little low, not for any good reason besides the fact that I thought it would come off as super nothing, because it's just because it's like, not like super nothing, but I feel like the experience of seeing it in a theater is pretty similar to the experience of watching the trailer 500 times in the last 2 years. Every time they make a new release date or every Super Bowl and stuff. So I'm like, you've already seen it pretty much. You don't need to see it in theater if you don't want to. And I thought it was pretty good. I was pretty impressed. I'm with Diggins. I thought it was right I think it's in the upper tier. It's just a very solid movie. All the funny parts worked for me. All the parts where they were jumping around, shooting people were pretty fine. Some parts are better than others. The Taskmaster was interesting enough. And I liked the other villain a lot. I liked that guy. I thought he was very fun.
Harvey Weinstein?
Harvey Weinstein is one thing I've heard him described as. I've also heard him described as Martin Scorsese, just because he has similar glasses to Martin Scorsese, and Martin Scorsese hates Marvel movies.
That would be a mean thing to do to Martin Scorsese.
Well, I mean, people have done it before to people. It'd be like how in the Godzilla movie they made the mayor the critic.
That sucked and I hated it. So
I loved it.
I want to imagine that's not what happened here.
Remember when Martin Scorsese was a rapping pufferfish in Shark Tale? That was good. He was in that. Anyway, but either way, I thought this movie was pretty good. It's just like the trailers. Like, it's got all the stuff from the trailers and maybe an extra 10% of stuff. So, enjoy that. Like, honestly, I feel like you could take the trailers, piece together stuff, and get almost every major scene in this movie. Like, all the action scenes, about 50%, I think. And then a lot of the longer scenes where people sit and talk, most of that wasn't in there. But, like, you knew where they were. I feel like I've never gone into a Marvel movie with such a solid understanding of exactly where all the scenes were, you know? Like, you watch a trailer and it's like this one, then this one, then this one, then this one, then this one. And they find this guy, and then they find this one. I have nothing against that, but it is weird to me.
Simple solution. Don't watch the trailers.
I mean, a lot of people do that. Like, a lot of people do that.
I would, except, like, you go to movie theaters, you know, and they play, like, 8 trailers. They play so many trailers, and I like to get there a little early to enjoy popcorn and not be in a big rush. So I'm not gonna like go stand in the auditorium, because they also play the trailers on the TV, not in the auditorium, but in like that area outside, in the foyer. They play the trailers on the TVs too. So if you go to movies a lot, I think it's tough. I think this is probably better in a theater than it would be on Disney Plus because it was so big and excitable. My theater experience was okay for a pretty specific reason, I think, which we'll get to. But, overall, that was pretty good. DJ, let's talk about your theater experience, though. What happened with you?
So, I had, with Michelle, and we just had literally sitting next to us 2 just, like, dickhead teenagers. So, like, I'm split on this. Not that I'm split, but, like,
You're split? You're the beast? DJ has 23 personalities, and a 24th is about to show up.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, no.
Wait, hold on. Does that mean that one of us is Samuel L. Jackson, and the other one of us is Bruce Willis?
No, I'm the back of Bruce Willis's head, mostly, and then sometimes Bruce Willis's face.
But your fucking raincoat.
Bruce Willis's stand-in.
Yeah, I'm that guy. He is getting work these days. That guy is the hardest working man in show business.
They wouldn't shut up, and like, it's an action movie, so it's like, whatever, I'm not watching, like, you know, a movie where this matters. But like, when like there were some scenes where it's like, oh, like the family thing, it's like, you know, oh my god, what, you know, I'm trying to understand. And so like, we had to shush him, and like someone else joined in on the shushing, which is like, that solidarity felt good. But yeah, man, like, I couldn't tell if we weren't sitting like right next to them, if it would have been like fine, but like we were like right fucking there. It was bad. It was bad. It was bad, and it didn't change my view on the movie at all.
Could you still hear what they were all saying through their weird, patchy Russian accents, and then the kids? Do you think you missed any lines?
Poor David Harbour.
Loved it.
He, it's okay, man. Like, I don't know whether to live in the world where it's like, just pretend they have that accent and, like, whatever, right?
No, man.
Like,
it's a genre at this point. It's like silly Russian accent spy movie, so fuck it. It's part of that genre.
I love that stupid Boris and Natasha from the Rocky and Bullwinkle show shit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to defeat Captain America.
Yeah.
Like,
Fuck, man.
I also had a weird theater experience for this one.
Yeah.
But it was the opposite. Not opposite, but it went differently. I'm going to say, I feel like it was not a lot of people in the theater.
Okay.
Which is great. Went like Thursday at 5:30, and I feel like that's the perfect time because people that get out at work at 5, I don't think go like, well, rush to the theater and get there at 5:30. They go like, all right, 6 o'clock.
Yeah,
maybe.
that's
so. Yeah, and it was like the opening night thing, where opening night is just the day before. But
and it's all the super fans. Like everyone there is like really.
You think so, right? And this one was, I think, it was a dad and his kids. Was next to us, like a couple of kids and a dad. And I'm going to say white dad, only because I think he started watching the movie and saw David Harbour and went, okay, kids, shut up, this movie's about me. Like, I think he saw himself as David Harbour and was like, we're going to actually pay attention to this.
It's fucking amazing.
I didn't want to before, but now it's a movie about how a dad is a hero and needs to be freed from prison or whatever. Look at me, I'm on the plane shooting guns, this is cool. So I think there were some kids. At one point, I remember a child being shushed by the dad, which is my favorite. That's the best. Because then I'm like, there's hope for the future. But I think our theater experiences was actually pretty good. That's not to say I think I've killed the witch or whatever they had said to do with the witch, but I think average witch experience.
I mean, you can kill the witch. I just think it's easier to take her to the highest hill and feed her from one of the smallest tributaries of the stream trickling out amongst the blades of grass in the morning dew. I think that's easier, but if you can kill her, go for it.
Morning dew? Oh, this explains it. I've been feeding my witch Mountain Dew Baja Blast. The drink of the summer.
Yeah. No, that's probably going to make her more mad. Mountain Dew is witch poison.
Nothing makes me happier than a nice Baja Blast, but whatever.
I need to interject. Okay. Nando.
Yes?
We could cut this if we have to cut this. Because I'm betraying a confidence. You said something before the podcast, you had a theory about Diggins, that I agree with. And I don't know if you want to expand on it, or if not, because you want to put Diggins on blast.
My theory is just that Diggins has a higher tolerance for people being like, rascals in a movie theater than me and you do. And I think Diggins has said that once, maybe. I think Diggins said it the opposite way, where Diggins said that me and DJ are hyper-focused on everyone in the movie theater acting like we're in a library. But I think there's just a discrepancy in the way we watch movies to some extent. Not discrepancy, but just there's like a... we have different expectations for theaters. I think some of the things that I have experienced in my life would bother Diggins, though. I think if Diggins watched, like, the movie where they killed Bin Laden and the kids were laughing the whole time, you'd be like, this is a little much.
I mean, I've had one experience like that ever, and it did bother me. Yeah. But it doesn't happen very often. It's happened to me. I struggle to think, besides that one experience, any bad theater experience I've ever had.
My goodness.
Here's what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
Me and DJ, we're gonna have to like chip Diggins. Whenever he goes to a movie, we're gonna pay someone in that movie theater to be like increasing levels of annoying.
Yeah,
and we're gonna figure out what Diggins' limit is.
That's such a good idea.
We shouldn't tell Diggins about this because otherwise he'll have to he'll know.
Yeah, we may have shot the bed on this one.
Yeah, actually,
hey guys, sorry, I just went to the bathroom real quick. I just came back. Were you talking about something?
Sick. Yeah,
we were just talking about how we can't tell you about our plan to make the movies more unenjoyable for you as time goes on. So, we're not going to tell you about that.
Awful.
Cool. Yeah, okay, that's fine.
So theater experiences aside, Black Widow, baby. Remember that song? Black Widow, baby. I forgot that was a song. They could have put it in this instead of Smells Like Teen Spirit. That would have been interesting. you know what?
Like a sad
children singing Black Widow, baby.
I didn't hate the Smells Like Teen Spirit. I really did.
That was fine. What do we think? I don't know. What do we want to do with this one? There was a flashback. Do you guys like the flashback?
Sure.
I was confused at first because I was like, she's Russian, but then it became clear, and I was like, okay, yeah, no, all right, we're here.
I think the way it was framed was, we get here's like not even the beginning of the story. It's like, here's when she's a kid, and we'll give you some background on the Red Room, and the credits is going to do some storytelling for us while we kind of like get to the point where it's like, okay, here we are, like post-Civil War. But like, as specifically for that beginning part, I like that core of what the like more mundaneness of like a spy movie is. I actually find that interesting. Like, I can watch a whole movie just on that. Now, like that's not what Marvel's going to do, and I'm not saying that's what it should do. But I think for like setting the stage of like what this like looks like and what their backstory is, I actually thought it was pretty good. It kind of goes, it falls into the like, here we are Marvel movie after like 20 minutes, but I thought it was as strong as an opening as you could have. Like, there wasn't a different opening I would have preferred to what they did.
Did you know that was Mila Jovovich's daughter? That's like a thing.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what I heard is that because she is Mia Jovovich's daughter, and Mia Jovovich is herself of Russian descent, little child Natasha's Russian is very good. Scarlett Johansson's Russian, on the other hand...
I mean, I think ScarJo at this point has pretty much dropped the Russian thing, so it's okay for me. I feel like
it's true.
There was like one movie where she was Russian.
Literally speaks Russian in this movie. And that's what I'm talking about.
But her
like,
character doesn't have an accent
Russian
anymore. But yes.
Oh,
right.
yeah. No.
It's not like Elizabeth Olsen where they just forgot to, like, they decided to not do the accent anymore. Like, it's not quite that much, but I think it was a smart move to not have her kind of be Russian at all when she speaks in English, like when she speaks English. I feel like maybe they'll do that with another character in the future. I think her Russian accent may completely drop, but we'll see. Not that I think it was bad either. I thought the accents were all fine. Yeah. Did you like that bit where David Harbour was on the wing of the plane like the Twilight Zone?
It's fine. Yeah. No issues.
No, it's foreshadowing to the fact that the end will be everyone flying around like their planes.
Oh, I didn't get that, but that makes total sense.
Foreshadowing, yeah.
That's like Chekhov's gun.
Yep.
Speaking of Russian, by the way.
Chekhov's plane.
That's right, yeah. I don't know. The opening was fine. How about I think the credits were funny because it was like, all the history moments of like the Black Widows actually did this.
Right.
They killed our two friends, Ferdinand or whatever. But it was also, look at all these famous politicians with Mr. Russian Man. And I think that's so funny. That's why I think this character, while Harvey Weinstein isn't appropriate, I think Jeffrey Epstein is also a far more appropriate analog to this guy who has a secret floating island. He can only get to
the secret floating island where he brings all the girls he kidnaps and offers them to powerful people.
How could they have known when they wrote this movie and filmed it? I'm assuming like 20 years ago. It feels like it's been that long since they made this one.
I mean, this movie might have been filmed before Me Too, for all we know.
Honestly,
totally could have been.
But yeah, you would never believe it. But what's his name? Do we know that guy's name?
Dreykov?
Dreykov, yeah. Dreykov was good friends with Bill Clinton and Ronald Reagan and all that stuff. It was good stuff. Yeah, and that was Ray Winstone's character. So he was like the guy he didn't get a poster. He was on one of them in like a little tiny head. The ones where your importance in the movie is how big your head is. His head was very small. But everybody else got like a character poster and they kind of hid him. I thought he was terrific. I don't know why I loved him so much.
Really?
I did. I feel like
should just talk about it.
Like, I think I liked that he was playing a character as opposed to like when they get like Corey Stoll for Ant-Man and they're like, just do the usual be you, but do yell about Ant-Man stuff. But with this, like, they were like, all right, you're gonna yell about Black Widow stuff, but also you're gonna be like slimy Russian man, and I think it worked, especially knowing that he is like an Irish guy or something. I don't know what his background is, but something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I felt no anything for this guy. I'm talking about like villains, right? So I mean, I'm not going to deny that, like, yeah, it was probably like a sick performance, and like Ray Winstone wasn't doing Ray Winstone, but like the Taskmaster like Dreykov combo for these are the bad guys, I felt was probably the weakest part of this movie. If I can be so bold,
I think that's probably fair. I mean,
I think it's just it's a classic problem of like it's hard to feel super invested in a villain, in like any character who doesn't show up until the end, which is why like secret villains are. I swear I'm not trying to tie this into later stuff. This is just genuinely me trying to answer the question.
Sure.
But it's difficult to feel fully invested in a conflict with a character you don't actually know much about or have never seen. It's just like sure, we've been told that she has this history with Dreykov and like why she hates him and everything, but without even just one scene of that dynamic, like early on in the movie in a flashback or something, would have done so much to get us to that point of like, oh, fuck this guy. And then when they're talking and he's like being a slime ball, you can be more like in her head in that moment, you know, because you already have seen like that relationship build.
What about that time he was a slime ball in Bill Clinton picture? Then it was like, oh, this guy, you know.
Or even like the beginning of the movie, right? Like
with the windbreaker where he wore the Russian.
Yeah. He didn't really
Russian
do
uniform
anything
of 1990
in that big movie. He didn't really do anything in that opening except be the guy who was waiting for them in Cuba.
Stole the kids
that,
from him.
Know.
That was bad. The bad guy thing to do. Kinda. Not like stole them because it was part of the plan, but he like was
he didn't
in charge.
steal them. David Harbour was totally cool with those kids being taken.
Yeah, he was so down for the cause.
I feel like with him, and maybe with other villains, who knows, but just the idea of like, if the movie is about getting to a moment where, you know, a character confronts their past or whatever, and like it's like, we know that there is a Dreykov. We don't know who it is, but there's somebody that's in charge of something. And at a certain point, they're going to have a conflict with the Black Widow. All I expect from them in that moment is just like act good and, you know, be the face of the conflict at that moment. But I don't need them at that moment. I don't need him to have been like, you know, the most connected to Natasha.
Right.
Like, it's kind of like the opposite of, like, speaking in James Bond movies. Like, what I love a good James Bond movie where the villain is, like, like Schiffer or whatever, where we see him and he's got a lot of relationship or whatever.
Yeah.
But I also think I can do there's something about, like, and this wasn't exactly that, but the idea that the movie's just a mission. It's just Black Widow going and doing a thing, and the bad guy was a bad guy, and he's bad, and we don't like him. And it's not... I think for me, it's more about, like, is the performance and is the way this character acts big enough to justify him being in charge and, like, being the big problem? And, like, him throwing widows and taskmasters at them throughout the movie is enough of his character for me that I'm like, he has a relationship with them. It might not be, like, a, you know, super personal friendly one, but that's kind of the fun for me of a spy movie is like, and then in the end you kill the guy because that's the rules, that's your mission, and you go do it. But I mean, that's not exactly what this is, but it's like every Marvel movie, the relationships between the heroes is the part that we like, and like them sitting around and, you know, eating is fun.
I do feel there is some level to it's nice to see the villain throughout, like doing the villain things and getting his perspective, because like that, you know, like the movies would just bounce around between some spy movies, right? Bounce around between POV, and it's like, now we get to see the villain in his lair and like what's he up to. Like even Captain America does that with Red Skull to some success, and I feel like even if you gave him anything to do from that perspective, that would have been more successful than like what we got.
See, I feel like that would have felt like wasted time in this movie. Where we'd have a scene where what does he do? Abuses a girl? Like we know that's what he's doing. I feel like we don't need to see it. I don't think. I feel like this movie, unlike other movies with like a secret villain, I don't think he felt like a secret villain or like a reveal. It was just like he's the bad guy, and we know what he's up to, so we don't need to spend a lot of time with him. Or, like, he doesn't need to be... Like, I just don't think there's anything another scene with that character would have given me that I didn't get from all of his stuff with Natasha.
Right.
Like, I know why I don't like him. I know why he's doing what he's doing. And I know what's dangerous about him. So, like... But I think in a lesser... Ray Winstone would have maybe made me, like, not care about it as much. But I found him... Not, like, fun to watch necessarily, but just, like, believable as a part of that movie. In a way that, like, Corey Stoll, not to pick on Corey Stoll, but even, like, Corey Stoll or even, what's his name?
Picking
like,
on Corey Stoll.
Like, Mads Mikkelsen. Not to say he's bad in Doctor Strange, but just, like, he's doing Mads Mikkelsen. I feel like this felt like a character. Or even, like, William Hurt. I don't know. He was in this. Remember when William Hurt was in it?
That's true.
Yeah.
I did see him.
He stood around and was like, I'm William Hurt.
Is he ever going to be fucking Red Hulk for us? Can he do that? Is that a thing he could do for us?
He could. I mean, it's weird because it feels like in any other year, or like not in any other year, but like 10 years ago, if you told me there would be a character walking up to, what's his name, like U.S. agent and being like, be my U.S. agent, it would be him.
Yeah.
But apparently he's got some problems in his past. And maybe he would have been that were he not. So I think it's weird that he's still around, but especially since we already did a movie of Hulk with...
William Hurt got Me Too'd?
He did, yeah. Kind of. I mean, like that kind of. Like he did, but it's not the super high-profile one. So, like, he's like, you know, he's like one of those guys, like Sean Penn, where not quite as bad as Sean Penn, but where everyone kind of knows, but it's not like, I don't know. He's not Bill Cosby. I don't know. Yeah, it's so hard to judge them all against each other.
Bar.
Well, no. But I think part of it is just like he's not. It's like if you saw an article that was like William Hurt has a bad past, you'd be like, who? And then you'd forget about it, as opposed to like Bill Cosby, one of the most famous men from the 90s. And obviously also he has a crazy history. But like I just feel like William Hurt's that kind of a low profile celebrity who can like kind of slip under the radar. I don't know. Yeah, people could Google it, but I wouldn't be like, I don't see why we don't just get Sam Elliott back, because Sam Elliott was him in that same character in the
Hulk,
the Ang Lee Hulk movie. Yeah, just get him, because Thunderbolt Ross is. I mean, also Thunderbolt Ross isn't that great, so who cares? Like,
I have to imagine that most people who watch these movies these days, like me, forget that even is Thunderbolt Ross.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
And honestly, if we're going to have to get a character be a Red Hulk version of themselves, I'd much rather it be Julia Louis-Dreyfus. Like, that's a much more fun thing to watch than, like, this guy. But, yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if his past kind of caught up to him and they squeezed him out of that thing that it really seemed like his character would eventually do. And now it's just some other character doing it.
But, like, just take him out of the movies then, right? Like, just move on.
I'd be fine with never seeing him again. I guess at this, it's just, like, someone had to be chasing her, so it would be him. Like, there's no other... I mean, it could have just been nobody, but also... I think... Because I feel like there's another post-credit... Or not post-credit scene, but a cut scene of him in a field, like, talking to her at the end of the movie. That didn't make it in. So I do think they... went like, all right, well, if we want to do that first bit, we have to have him because he's talking to her on the telephone. Although that could have been anybody. But
yeah, it's true.
Not like could have been anybody, but who would it be? But if we don't want to do that, but let's minimize the amount of him in these because we don't want him in them anymore. I don't know. Get John Hurt. He's an actor. Just pretend it's the same Hurt, you know? Or get that guy who was Kevin Spacey in that movie where they got rid of Kevin Spacey. What's that guy's name? Christopher Plummer? Yeah, just get him.
Didn't he?
I want him as a Red Hulk so badly.
Oh, did he die?
Is Christopher Plummer still alive?
I don't know.
Oh, did we kill Christopher Plummer?
Christopher Plummer died February 5th this year.
Ah, bummer.
So we did not kill him. But that
we did not. Get the guy who played Tarkin. He's still alive. Computer Tarkin, man.
That PS3 model. Yeah. Just throw it up on screen.
That guy back. Get the guy who does the voice of Tony Stark in What If. Let's get him. Did you guys see the trailer for the What If show, by the way? I guess we'll talk about that at the end of the
Will we?
Well, it's kind of related to stuff, maybe. You know.
That's true.
But
not clear though.
Yeah.
Real quick sidebar. Speaking of Marvel characters who like hang around and do stuff, Did you see Don Cheadle got an Emmy nomination for supporting actor for Captain Falcon?
I love it.
That's
I love
insane.
it so much.
That's insane. For those who don't know, Don Cheadle was in Captain Falcon for, I don't know, legitimately maybe 3.5 minutes.
Yeah, he had like 2 lines.
I genuinely had forgotten he was in it. Like, I saw that nomination, and I was like, wait, he's not in that show.
Can't be.
Yeah, you're like, oh shit, they messed up and they meant to do Anthony Mackie, but they did the other black guy. Oh no, this is embarrassing for them. I mean, I think the reason it's funny, well, I guess they wanted to do someone from one of the Marvel shows because that's the rules. You have to.
Yes.
And you had to get someone who was only in one episode, and everyone else that was of note is in more than one episode.
Yep.
You know? So, like, Julia Louis-Dreyfus was in 2. Obviously, Carl Lumbly was in 2. You know, everybody from WandaVision was in 2. So, you know, I feel like if they had actually gone through with the Doctor Strange cameo in WandaVision, it would have been him. I bet he would have gotten it instead. But, yeah, I feel like they just went through the, like, IMDb summary and went, like, who's only been in one of these? Don Cheadle, he's an actor we usually nominate for stuff. And he was good and he was fine, you know.
We love him in Billions.
Yeah. He's not in Billions, DJ. He's in the other one.
What?
House of Cards or House of Pain or whatever it's called.
Oh, yeah, it's not Billions. This is the other one. It's like the same fucking premise.
House of Lies. House of Lies. Yeah.
Same shit.
Yeah, it's people in suits walking around doing business deals.
Yeah. Fucking.
There's like 50 of those shows. But, yeah. And he's in Space Jam, obviously, which we'll be talking about next week.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Unless it kills us all. That might happen.
He will not get an award for that.
You say that now, TJ. What if he's just technically the only character that can get an award from it? What if, like, Don Cheadle is just sniping award categories for, like, he's gonna do a spoken word album next year and I'll get that one too. Get some all.
He's just gonna go for the most low effort EGOT of all time.
Exactly, the asterisk EGOT or something, where it's like. You go like, Don Cheadle's got EGOT, and you're like, yeah, technically, he was a lighting producer in this movie, and you didn't know about it. I mean, I guess did he get one for Hotel Rwanda? He probably did. Or Hotel for Dogs, one of the hotel movies he was in 2005.
Hotel Rwanda for Dogs.
Yeah, exactly.
Best crossover.
But, yeah, that was pretty funny.
Random characters. Thunderbolt Ross. He's in this? Question mark.
Yeah. I mean, so to answer your question, I don't think he will ever beat the Red Hulk for that reason. I think they should recast him and then do that, but it also feels like Val has got, like, taken his role up.
Yeah.
Like, and munched it up into, like, a different character, so I don't see the point.
And we all love her, so it's, like, great, and, like, justifiably so.
I like her as an actress, and I like her, I don't like her in this, but... I liked her. I didn't like her in this one. I feel like her cameo here didn't make any sense. Still doesn't to me. We'll talk about it. It's the part of the movie that I had the most gripes with. I don't care if they fall out of the sky.
Nando just groaning. Ugh.
What are they doing in that scene? What's happening? What did they? It doesn't make any. Who thinks that? Who thinks that that's what happens? What did Clint tell anybody about it? It's so dumb. We'll get to it. The rest of the movie, pretty good, huh? Black Widow did all her flips. What'd you guys think of?
Florence Pugh made fun of her for doing her flips, which was really funny.
That was great.
She's really funny. She's great.
Good, consistent Russian accent.
I liked the vest thing. I thought that was cute.
The vest thing was fun. I think that's what this movie had was, it's like, look, we're going to give you a lot of light Marvel stuff. We'll give you some, like, not even heavy, but just, like, emotional family stuff that you'll probably like, even though you didn't realize you wanted it or signed up for. And then we got your boilerplate action. And it all sums up to be good, right? But I was never wowed by this movie. And, I mean, the Taskmaster thing really killed me.
Well, let's talk about it, because
let's.
Probably the most interesting thing in the movie. Definitely the most polarizing thing. Yes. So, spoilers for Black Widow, besides all that stuff we've already spoiled.
Right.
What's the deal? Besides the post-credit scene and the villain and all the other action moments, what's the deal with Taskmaster? Explain that to everybody.
So, like, spoilers and all? Well, I'll walk... Yeah, for those who haven't seen it.
I mean, you could walk it through in like, not in real time, but like...
lightly.
Yeah, as we get the information.
Dreykov, who's like the guy who's running like the Red Room in the Black Widow program, he has this like warrior or whatever that's like part of the Taskmaster protocol. So it's Taskmaster, And the idea is that this person or robot, who the fuck knows, has like studied all of the Avengers and can do all their things with bows and shields and swords. I don't know what's
swords.
a sword.
He caught the Hawkeye movie that hasn't come out yet. Diggins, can you do an impression of what it would sound like if Taskmaster was an Australian man?
I can absolutely do that, Nando. Thank you for reading my mind.
All week.
I believe
let's
Taskmaster...
do a scene. I'll do a scene where I'm Black Widow and you're Taskmaster. We meet for the first time.
Okay, sure.
Okay, here I go. I'm Black Widow. Here we go.
Uh-huh.
You're Taskmaster. You'll never beat me because I am Black Widow.
Oh, but I've studied all your moves.
They did it, baby. Finally got it. A character with a fucked up half of their face who studied all their moves. All we need is the laser eye. All right. Anyway, sorry, DJ, go on.
It's okay. That was well worth it.
I mean, it really was like, I forget. I must have been like editing one of my videos about Black Widow, and I was like, holy shit, it's the same thing. Except in this one, he did that instead of just said it before he was murdered.
Yeah. So yeah, Taskmaster has seen like all the B-roll from all the Avengers fights, so he can do it all, right? Like I said, he's got the sword, shield, bow. He has like Black Panther claws, probably not vibranium, but just like the idea of that fighting style. So it's like fighting a mirror. What can you do? And, you know, like, they manage, of course, right? It's very like Winter Soldier, where it's like, oh my god, the Winter Soldier has showed up. What do we do? It's like, kind of get our ass kicked and kind of make it, and then eventually we'll do the thing where we win with love. So, like, super Winter Soldier vibes.
And really, there's like 3 Taskmaster scenes.
Yeah. It's all the trailers. Every fucking one's in the trailers.
Yeah. 100%.
Which, like, I don't know. It's not the movie's fault, but
it's the pandemic. Like, they kept releasing a trailer every time there was a new release date, and every time they put a little bit more footage in. And like, they didn't have to do that, but also, you know, I get it. So
that's where we are, right?
I'm sure if they had a marketing department that was under normal circumstances, there wouldn't have been that much movie out there in the world.
Don't do it, guys. So, you know, the Taskmaster's like there fucking shit up. And like the scenes are cool. Fight choreography is like pretty decent, but there's nothing there. It's just like even with the Winter Soldier, at some point Cap goes, "Oh my god, it's Bucky! I don't know what to do." So like at least we have the continuity emotional impact from like having met Bucky in the first Captain America movie. So like at least that there, but here there's none of that. There's none of that. There's none of that. There's none of that. And it is then revealed as like the big aha. So Black Widow, something that had been hanging over her head was that in order for her to join S.H.I.E.L.D., she had to kill Dreykov, who was the head of like the Red Room, right? He's like the guy in charge. So like that was her final test. And she had also killed Dreykov's daughter, who was like 12 or whatever. And this always like hung on her head, like the whole like, oh, the ledger, it's bad. I've done bad things. I'm not great. I've tried to make up for them. So she's held with this guilt that like she killed this girl in order to kill Dreykov, who it turns out she hadn't even killed, is still alive in this movie. The Red Room's still up and running. So all of it was like for naught. We then find out that Taskmaster is Dreykov's daughter. Whoa! But she's like barely human. She can't talk. She has like a chip implanted in the back of her neck. And it's supposed to be like this whole thing. So now Natasha's like, oh fuck, I can't kill her because that would be bad, I guess.
Like Winter Soldier, you know. Same exact beat.
So no, but it's like I didn't know what to do with it. Like I was like, a reveal, and then you know you're just kind of sit there left with it, like, what we do now, and especially now that Natasha's dead, because like we don't really get a resolution. Like like we're already like so deep in spoilers. But Natasha manages to free Taskmaster from the weird, like, mind control brain poison that is like a through line throughout this movie. Like, whatever, it doesn't matter. And she's free, and she kind of goes away. But it's like such a weird note. And, like, if it were just a guy or girl, like whatever, and it's like you're doing that, it's like cool. But for the gamers and the nerds out there, like Taskmaster's really cool.
Gamers.
Hashtag gamers. Gamers only, as Tomorrow War would say in that poster. No, it was so good. Taskmaster's a really fucking cool character. This is shades of Deadpool in the Wolverine origin movie. Like, what a cool character that you've destroyed. I'm kind of upset.
See, I
And
disagree.
they had the temerity to make him into a woman. How dare they?
Listen, man, I'm not even going to follow the joke to its conclusion because I don't want to get taken out of context, but you know what I mean, right?
DJ, no, I know. A woman.
No, I know.
Well, it has
Listen.
to be. It had to be, it had to be Taskmaster because I didn't really even notice that the character's name was not Tony Masters, the name of Taskmaster, but it was Antonia. So the Tony was present,
Wow.
which I think was so interesting.
That's cool.
They did like a little gender swap name. However, I think you can make the case, and I'm sure they will if people don't like this enough, that there might be another guy out there that's Taskmaster or someone that just steals the helmet and is Taskmaster now. Because Tony Master's just a guy. He's not a mutant.
Right.
He's not a government
Yeah.
experiment. He's just a guy who, for some reason, can duplicate moves and stuff. And he's also kind of an idiot. So, like, any character could
Is he
potentially...
going to put them out? I'm Taskmaster now. And
Yeah, you know, he could engage the Taskmaster protocol, get a little chip in his head, and then he could do all the moves. I mean, at this point, I think the question is, like, who cares? Like, what do we
I know.
Not like who cares, but not like who cares for nerds, but who cares in this universe? Like, cool, you could copy everybody's moves. Doctor Strange can like pull your soul out of your body. I don't know what to tell you.
It's true.
Like, we got past the part where copying moves is that big of a deal. Although I guess Shang-Chi is like kind of moves based, but like I feel like
I think if the Mortal Kombat movies have taught us anything, it's that being able to study all of somebody's moves is always, of some threat.
a good way to get murdered immediately. A good way to not make it through the movie you're in. I think so I'm sympathetic to the argument that I don't think it's like Deadpool, because I think Deadpool in Wolverine Origins, even though they like fucked around with it in future movies, but if we kept with that continuity, it precluded a good Deadpool. I think because this is a different character, we might still get Tony Masters,
That's interesting.
shield agent or whatever, who gets injected with the Taskmaster fucking virus that exists now, or some nanotubes, and then he is Taskmaster now. I don't think it would matter. Like, I feel like the space for that character to exist in the world of the movies is like minimal, but he is like a free agent, mercenary guy. So he's the kind of guy that could show up in like, the She-Hulk show and then come and go, and then he's gone. And then he shows up in the Ant-Man movie, and then he's gone. So
Yeah, that's
He
fair.
could
So,
be
but,
the new Batroc the Leaper.
exactly, yeah. Honestly, or Abomination is in the Shang-Chi trailer. Like, you could just, you need a couple of those jobbers in the Marvel universe who want to steal a thing in the first scene of the movie. So then the Black Widow or, Shang-Chi or the Eternals have to go beat them up. And then the movie continues.
I guess a more salient point is, like, in the context of this movie alone, Taskmaster's a bad villain, and it sucks to have a bad villain. And I would argue Dreykov is also a bad villain, but I'm I guess more sympathetic to an argument that, like, maybe he's okay. It's an interesting villain. It's hard when I think we may have gotten a preview recently of a really interesting villain who
We'll
I
see.
feel like I might care about. But
I
now
can't
got,
imagine
like,
who you're talking about.
I think the thing we're missing with Taskmaster, or that this movie missed, is actually doing Taskmaster fighting scenes. Like, just a scene where, to end the scene, a character has to come up with a creative way to beat Taskmaster. By, like, he could copy your moves, so what do you do? And in this movie, it's just like, keep fighting him until the fight ends.
Actually, that's a great point. That's a really good point, Nando.
Yeah.
Because it's sometimes it's like, get Deadpool, right? Because he's unpredictable,
Right.
and it's like,
he's unpredictable
fun.
and just like better, or like
Right? Yes.
use two people, come up with some, because that's the thing, and that's how they eventually the actual time they beat him. Because even in the first scene, like, Widow's plan, which like makes sense, is just get kicked once you get the thing he wants, or that you want, so that he can't have it. But then the second fight scene, they just, like, trick him into not following him. So that one doesn't count. The one with in the train station when they all die in a car accident. And then the second time they all die in a car accident. There's a lot of like, every time Taskmaster might be a guy that can fight and do all your moves, but he's really just a guy that can do a big car accident. And if that doesn't kill you, maybe he'll follow you around. But yeah, you figure the third time there'd be some sort of like, okay, he can copy your moves, he can copy my moves, but like, we're two people, so we have to do some sort of like the Rock and Vin Diesel combo headbutt move.
Or
shit,
the
like,
end of Hobbs and Shaw. That's like literally how they ended Hobbs and Shaw, right?
And he's the same guy. Yeah, he's like Robot Man who can see all your moves ahead of time. So
the Black Superman. This is just the same characters.
That's right. Oh my God, he killed Superman, or not? He didn't kill him, but in the new trailer, they're like he shot Superman. What is it with Idris Elba and Superman?
I know. He either is him or is killing him. It's on like all sides of the spectrum.
Do you think taking this role after being the Black Superman is Idris Elba trying to communicate that he has, serious depression and needs help?
Oh, I thought you were going to go in the other direction. Like communicates that he wants to be Superman.
That's a good point.
No. That he's saying that like he was Superman and now he's playing a character who's shooting Superman. So maybe he's saying like he has some problems with self-hatred and self-esteem issues, and I don't know, maybe it's a call for help.
I mean, I would imagine that makes sense, except from what I understand about how bad kryptonite works in the comics, Black Superman would have to use like dark green kryptonite or something to kill Black Superman. Regular kryptonite would not kill Black Superman because there's like a million different hues of kryptonite. So I feel like he'd probably be A-okay in my book. Yeah. I feel like there's two Black Supermen besides the fake one from Hobbs and Shaw. There's Val-Zod, and then there's the one who's the president. And I don't know if the kryptonites in their universes are different, but they probably are. Anyway, this movie is great. Taskmaster's weird. I don't like that he has a hood, but no, or she has a hood, but no cape. I feel like the hood doesn't make sense without the cape. What's the point?
That's very fair. Great point, Nando. Great point.
Thank you.
I think we all have to accept in our lives that capes look cool.
Yes. Oh my God. Like, and it's so obvious if you read the comics and you like look at Taskmaster and it's like, man, that cape is doing so much work to make him look cool. It's got so much depth and it's flipping around in the wind and like, that's just so helpful. But yeah. Do any Marvel characters have capes besides Thor? Are there the caped figures?
You mean MCU characters?
Yeah. Like ones in the movies right now. Like, I mean, tons of Marvel characters.
Well, like Thor, Loki had a cape, but he pretty much never wears it now.
That's true.
He made a double cape, kind of.
Classic Loki had a cape, and that was very good of him. That looked, it fucking ruled.
Great point. Great point.
Thank you.
Is that our transition pivot point? Loki.
No.
I got thoughts.
I mean, I feel like there's at least one more character. Mysterio had a cape that you had to dry clean. That was fun.
Oh yeah.
He got it. He understood that capes are cool.
I'm gonna make a fake hero.
I feel like there's got to be another character with a cape, but maybe not. Like, none of the Doctor Strange, flying cape, very good.
Yeah, Doctor Strange's cape is very important to him.
Yeah, like, I feel like all of the capes, if you just looked at the capes in the MCU, it's like, almost like, yeah, keep doing capes. There's no character that's had a cape that hasn't been awesome. It's only ever helped. And, like, Thor takes it off for some movies, and it's like, yeah, whatever, he can't have a cape. But, like, I want to say, did Hela have a cape?
I don't think so.
No, she did not have a cape. Because remember when she does her flippy things, there's like no trail or anything.
I feel like there was concept art where he did, and I liked it. Valkyrie had a cape, also looked great. She did when she came back to being sweet.
The Asgardians, it's like a given, just because it's kind of their thing. Did Heimdall have a cape? When he had like a cloak when he was like undercover Heimdall in Ragnarok.
Yeah,
I know that's not exactly all the way back around to Idris Elba.
Yeah, exactly. Idris Elba is this might be an Idris Elba podcast.
Yeah.
I don't think most of the Asgardians have capes, actually. Like, I feel like Fandral, Volstagg, those guys don't have capes. Hogun might. I don't think Sif does. They should, though, because, like we said, they rule. And, Vision has a cape. And Vision just sees Thor's cape and is like, actually, capes are good. Yeah, get more capes, guys.
Well, because Vision is like the smartest robot AI man in the world, so he can take a look at a cape and be like, objectively, this is dope as hell.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I feel like Shang-Chi probably wouldn't have a cape. Looks like the Eternals have capes. Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, lots of capes. Thor, Love and Thunder cape. They can like
You're just
new
reading
characters.
The movies now, and it's like,
yeah, no, I'm running through
it's
them in
got
my head. Like,
capes.
what are the other shows? Like Hawkeye won't have a cape. What If? Probably lots of capes.
What if this character but a fucking cape?
Honestly, that would be
Get
sick.
fucking ready.
I want to blame Incredibles for this, making capes seem dumb, but they're actually sweet. And as long as you don't stand next to an airplane, you're probably fine. Like, the times in that movie where they're like, a cape was why that guy got sucked into a whirlpool. It's like, no, he didn't. He got sucked into a whirlpool because he was near a whirlpool. Like, the cape probably made it look stupid when it happened, but come on, Edna. You just don't like capes, is your problem, Edna. It's not why Syndrome got sucked into that airplane either. It just didn't help, you know? It's a funny joke at the time.
In, but like whatever.
Yeah, Ozymandias had a cape and it looked dope. In Watchmen, his costume.
We should all be pissed at Edna Mode and The Incredibles for setting the cause of bringing capes back by decades.
Yeah.
Wow.
Honestly, and
Fucking
considering Syndrome's suit would look so stupid without a cape. Like a cape, I guess a cape does a couple of things besides looking cool. It fills out. If your body doesn't look like super muscular like all these guys do, you can use it to create some definition with lighting and stuff like that. And like, just it's visually interesting. And also, you can use it for like cool, you know, like maneuvers. You can flip it around and I don't know, do sick stuff. So,
Show me your moves.
Yeah, I think they'll figure out capes in the future. I mean, like even Captain Marvel, no cape, but she has a sash. And they had it in Infinity War, or not Infinity War, in Endgame, where she came back with her Johnny Bravo hair. And I think if they do that, just like, it's more shit like that. Just like tassels and extra stuff. That's what we need.
Mm-hmm. Accessories, basically.
Yeah. Like Black Widow doesn't, or not Black Widow, excuse me. Scarlet Witch doesn't have a cape, but she's got like a cape-ish kind of jackety thing now. And like, maybe it is actually a cape. And it works.
Yeah. Black Widow has
no cape,
belt, and like the wrist gauntlets.
It's so funny that there's like a uniform for Black Widows now. Like,
yeah.
What are you doing? Like, kind of spies. You can't be spies with a uniform. But whatever, I don't know. I liked her little. What did you think of the white outfit? The snow, like James Bond snow mission outfit.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. And Florence Pugh's outfit was cool, too, because she had the pocket stuff.
She had her little vest, which apparently Black Widow is wearing in Endgame, and I just didn't remember that at all.
The other one. She's wearing it in Infinity War. It is, I want to say in Infinity War it looks greener than it does here, but...
Well, you know how things green with time.
Exactly, yeah. If you wash it a couple times, the black comes off and it looks green.
Leave it out in the sun, it becomes more green, you know.
Exactly. They've never explained it in the movies, but they're in, like, Afghanistan cleaning up pieces of, like, shit that the Vulture sold, canonically between, I guess, this and Infinity War. So, yeah, the sun would do a number on that vest. Although, like, you probably wouldn't wear it every day because it's just extra heat.
Diggins, did you want to talk about the dumb controversy? I mean controversy, not dumb controversy. Just controversy.
What's the controversy?
I think I know what Diggins is going to talk about. You said at the up. Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh, I wouldn't call it a controversy.
All right, I don't know, man.
Well, it's just that the existence of this movie makes Endgame a worse movie.
Oh, because of the post-credit scene?
No, because I mean, I already famously strongly dislike the Black Widow scene in Endgame.
Apparently, she wrote it, or like it was her idea on set. So they fucking.
Well, that doesn't. So
I'm with Scarlett,
I've heard this.
Guess.
I have heard this story. Basically, it was argued. I forget by who. Maybe it was Scarlett that she should get to do that because she doesn't do anything else in the entire movie. To which I say, maybe give her something else to do in the entire movie. Huh? There's an easier solution here.
Between those two characters, it is insane that at one point it's like, let Family Man die. Like, I feel like he's got kids. Of course you would, like, he's slightly more... You want to orphan all those kids? He's got this humongous family.
But Nando, listen, the point isn't like once you have already put them in the scenario where one of them has to die, you pick Black Widow and that's bad. The point is engineering a situation in which the only female main character who has like done nothing in the entire 10 years before this, the first thing she ever does of consequence is die.
Oh my
God.
Diggins.
Engineering that scenario in the first place is what sucks.
Pretend she didn't even do anything in the other movies. She's so... I feel like we have heavily discounted her important roles. In Infinity War, she's the one who...
Yeah?
She, like, saves Scarlet Witch. Remember they have that, like, 3-girl scene where they do the scene from The Boys, but not as a joke? Where it's like, you can't fight her because we're here. And it's like her, and Scarlet Witch, and Okoye. That's helpful.
But, like, it's not a thing of consequence. It's she gets a cool action scene, which cool, but, like...
In Civil War, she saves Captain America. She stops Black Panther from catching them, so that's pretty important.
But again, that's not, like... These are all things that have to do with other people, where she just happens to be there doing a thing. The point is she doesn't have anything for herself in these movies until she dies.
What about when she's sad about not being able to have babies?
Okay, well, she doesn't have anything for herself that doesn't fucking suck.
What about when she's just trying to mac on the Hulk? Because,
I mean, he's a real cool guy. If you get rid of all the Hulk stuff, he's easily the most well-adjusted member of that team. So, probably. I mean, he's the only member of the team who's, like, not in a relationship during the movies or pining after his, like, history girlfriend from back in the war.
Anyway, my point is that in that scene, she's like, I've done so many bad things I need to make up for, and also you got a family and there's no one who loves me. And now in this movie, it's like, she made up for the things she did, and also she's got a family who loves her. So it's like, all of those were lies, I guess.
Yeah, it's just funny that there's no call. I feel like you gotta call those people during an Endgame situation. But maybe they all got snapped. Every single extra widow and the 3 family members all didn't exist. Bummer.
I mean, maybe, but, like, this is what I mean by, like, it makes that scene even more egregious, and I already didn't like it.
Yeah, I was 50-50 on it until they said they wanted to do it that way, and I'm like, I don't know, man. But I feel like this movie is weird because you kind of have to take it with a grain of salt, or, like, not take it with a grain of salt, but it's like, this is the movie they wanted to make for a while, but Ike Perlmutter wouldn't let him because he's bad. So, like, obviously this is at a bad place. Like, it's not the right time for this movie to come out in real life. But also, yeah, it's just, like, a weird place to start Phase 4. I mean, thank God it wasn't the first Phase 4 thing. But, yeah, it is weird. I don't know. That would be funny, though, if they did show up during Endgame and everyone's like, who the fuck are you guys? And they were like, we knew Black Widow. And then they were like, okay. And then it's like...
Remember when they have a giant funeral for Tony, and then for Natasha, they're like, oh yeah, she also died. And then they move on?
Maybe they had a big funeral for her in, like, Russia or something, and none of them went. Or maybe they all went. Maybe, like, 2 or 3, half of them went. I don't know. Which ones did she like? Who was she friends with? The Hulk?
Yeah.
Hawkeye? Captain America. Well, he's dead. Or not dead, but he's, like, he could be an old man. Maybe he missed it. Yeah, exactly.
Fucking
Coulson, yeah. I would say, like, Falcon. Her and Falcon spent a lot of time together. And Bucky and, like, that whole crew. But, like, I feel like it would be weird if, you know, Ant-Man's whole family came to her funeral. Not, like, weird, but I'd be like, you don't have to go if you don't want to. Yeah, right. It'd be nice if you went, but if you didn't go, I get it. It's a flight to get to Russia or wherever she lives now, Budapest.
Budapest, Nando?
Yeah, no, I'm with OT Fact Melee in that or whatever. That's what happens in that movie, right?
It is the two of them arguing about the pronunciation of Budapest, which Natasha is correct, because when it's another country's city, you pronounce it the way they would.
Should that be true for every city?
Yeah, I don't know if that's true, because we don't pronounce the cities in China like they would pronounce them. Like, I feel like there's other cities, there's so many cities where we just make up an Americanized version and go with it.
Well, I think that you shouldn't do that.
Perhaps. But if you kill somebody in that city, it doesn't count. You get a pass.
Yeah, also, that's true. Well, everyone knows that murdering non-Americans doesn't count. Just ask John Walker.
That's fair. I like that that guy was in there, that random red herring man who was like, here's a plane. Go do a Black Widow. I'm not part of it.
I'm just here.
Yeah.
I'm just having a good time, man.
I'm just here to have
It's
fun.
not that I thought he was Taskmaster, but I was ready for him to be Taskmaster. Like, I was ready for him to be brainwashed Taskmaster man at any point in the movie.
Oh, no, I was, like, laser on, like, okay, Taskmaster's either the mom from the intro or it's the guy's daughter. And then when the mom from the intro showed up, I was like, okay, cool, it's the daughter.
Yeah. Well, even then, I'm like, it could be the mom, though. Like, the thing with Taskmaster and, like, with Black Widows is that they're all, like, programmed and kind of sleeper agents, kind of. So at no point was any character, besides David Harbour, who's too fat to fit in the suit, no character was out of suspicion. Speaking of David Harbour, he was the best part of the movie, kind of, right? Maybe.
Yeah.
No, Florence Pugh.
Yeah,
was the
that's
best part
fair.
of the movie.
Florence
Like
Pugh was
1A,
great.
1B.
Yeah.
Yeah.
David Harbour was so good.
David Harbour was very funny. I'm not trying to impugn David Harbour. I just want to... I need to stan my queen, Florence Pugh.
He'll break your floppy little wrist if you...
oh, God. That was hard to look at.
That was funny.
I do think that as a character type is, like, so great. Where he just says, like, he wants to fight Captain America so fucking badly. To the
I
point
have
where
to
he's just
fight
gotta, like,
that
make up
pesky
stories.
moose and squirrel.
Yeah. And I love a good fraud. I'm a big fan of frauds.
Yes.
Gilderoy Lockhart.
Yeah.
Yes.
This one, yeah, huge fan. And I love that he has action figures of him. Like, just all of the things that I like in a movie where it's like, he has action figures, he has to work to fit in his suit because he's too fat. Like, just like so many fun little beats.
Don't you guys love when people get sent something to break out of prison and they immediately are like, yes, to break out of prison? I always love that.
I did like that he put it popped up. First he was like, oh yeah, someone sent me an action figure. And then it pops open and he puts the thing in his ear because he's like, this is an ear thing. And there's like a couple of seconds where he's like, I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah,
and
right?
the face he makes when he like turns the corner and he sees that the gate's opened is very... I bought it as like, I think I'm supposed to escape, but this might be a test or something, so I'm not gonna bother.
It was good. It was good. It's just, I feel like that's always,
yeah.
it's very cliche, like, yes, the knife in the cake. I know exactly. Like, it was just like, oh, fuck this action figure, man.
It's
Like,
probably
just
all
throws it
you're
in the
thinking about all day. It's just, this is probably a thing I'm supposed to use
Right?
to escape from prison.
You're so disappointed when it's not. Oh, it's just
Yeah.
fucking fan mail. Ugh. Again.
Also, do you know that guy that he broke the wrist of is a guy from comics, kind of?
Oh.
Part of the Red Guard, or the Winter Guard.
Oh, yeah. Ursa Major, yeah.
Ursa Major, yeah, the world's drunkest bear. He can transform into a bear, kind of like the Hulk can. Sometimes he's just a bear, I think.
That's
the
funny. Ursa,
Winter Guard,
bear.
at one point, they just gathered up all the villains that were already Russian and made them into an Avengers for Russia. It was like Iron Maiden, who's what's her name? Melina.
The mom.
Yeah, and she has the mask in her little like arsenal, but she hasn't put it on. But it's her, the Crimson Dynamo, which is what they call him in this, which is cute. Although we've
But
never
actually
seen
is a different character than the Red Guardian.
Yeah, we've never seen a full Crimson Dynamo, although that's kind of what Whiplash was when he puts on a big robot suit at the end of Iron Man 2, but it's usually a different guy. And there's a couple of Crimson Dynamos, and also Titanium Man is Russian. There were a lot of Iron Man comics in the 80s. And then you've got the Bear, Ursa Major, Red Guardian. I want to say there's like a woman who has Dark Force powers who flies around, and another one who I can't remember. There's two. There's like a good one and an evil one of like guys who fly around with laser force, and someone's powered by the devil. It's a very exciting group, and I feel like I don't think we'll get a movie of them, but I wouldn't mind it. I think it'd be fun.
Not enough villains these days are powered by the devil.
Yeah, right?
Mephisto! We were supposed to get Mephisto.
Not Mephisto, DJ. I'm talking about the actual Christian devil.
Yeah.
My bad.
I'm talking about characters that are powered by the devil in terms of like Juggernaut is powered by an evil space crystal from evil space, and then they just like go like, nah, but actually it's just a big guy with a helmet. It's like, no, fucking do the evil space crystal, that's cool. And this guy, but there are Christian devil characters. I mean, like,
Yeah,
Ghost
I
Rider.
want literally Satan.
Yeah, that would be sweet.
I want the literal devil, because that's where I'm at with my villains.
I mean, they used
No
to
more of
do
this
it.
bullshit.
Listen, if we had a functional DCEU, you have no idea how many DC villains are just like, I asked the devil for some powers and he gave them to me.
Right, or the fucking McFarlane characters are nothing but devil. Like, I want to say Spawn and the devil have, like, a close relationship. But, yeah, the Marvel ones, I don't know if it's because they wanted to keep it all over the place, but it's not like their characters aren't religious. Like, you know, Daredevil is a Catholic, Ben Grimm's Jewish, like... But maybe it's that they didn't want to validate any one specific one of those. But yeah, they always did Mephisto, and you would do a deal with the devil, but he was a guy instead who was red and had spiky hair and shit. It's weird. But yeah, no, the DC ones have lots of devil guys, and it's fun. It's more fun that way, I think. I like that. But yeah. What else was in this movie? I like that they kept drinking vodka casually. That was fun.
It's very Russian.
Yeah.
We know how the Russians feel about vodka. They fucking love it.
They love it. And they just drink it whenever they're annoyed at their sister. It's the rules.
I liked David Harbour in his bad Russian accent singing American Pie.
That was fun.
Adorable. Yep. I liked his story about how his dad peed on his hands. That was fun.
That
made the toilet.
Him trying to, like, do things, like, to be a good, quote-unquote, father, like he thinks he is, like, masterstroke.
And it's an interesting character, right? Because he sold his little kids to slavery, but also...
Wow. They're not his kids, though.
Yeah, right.
They weren't his kids.
They were already Red Room recruits. It's just when he was sent to go do a spy mission, they were like, here, have these kids we kidnapped to, make it more believable.
Right, and he was, like, super... into the government and stuff, and then he came out of the government and he's like, you know what, it's actually kind of bad that I did that, and also it was nice when we all had dinner together back in the day. So
oh man, they drop any hint of like actual geopolitics as fast as they possibly can.
Yep.
Yeah,
we're not touching it.
I mean, it's hard when you have, like a Russian guy in 2015 as the villain, like in a movie that takes place canonically in 2015 in Russia, and it's like, well, I think we know who was in charge of Russia then. Did he know? Was he part of it? Like,
was Vladimir Putin funding the Sky Fortress?
Like, I never knew too much about Russian politics, but watching Rachel Maddow in, like, 2016, I learned the name of everyone in Putin's inner circle. So, like, I feel like they were all part of this movie as far as I'm concerned. They were all getting calls with little red dots on a map and going, these are the people that we're sending now. This one is going... Like, I mean, if there were Black Widows, one of them would have honeypotted Trump for sure. Like, Christopher Steele might as well have been a character in this movie. It's weird. It's weird. I loved it, but it's weird.
We're all about showing presidents from the 80s and 90s, but 2000, no.
Yeah, how crazy would it be for a picture of Donald Trump with just some weird Russian plant guys? Like, it would be crazy that there's only one guy in that picture. There would be several. He would be flanked by 50 Dreykovs.
Do you think Natasha and Yelena are the girls in the P-tape?
I don't. I think they're too good for it. I think it's the Red Guardian. His daddy made toilet on him. Like that's exactly his deal. And he would do it.
True. That's true.
If they gave him his, his
if
moment.
It was for Mother Russia.
Yeah. What do we think is his deal with Captain America? Do you buy that he fought a Captain America, or he's been lying about it the whole time?
No, there's no way. Unless it was like a fake.
Several ways.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier has now confirmed that there were other super soldiers and other Captain Americas while Steve was frozen. So it's not impossible that he fought a Captain America who was just never made big in public.
It seems like he wants to talk about Steve Rogers, though. He's like, I fucked up Steve Rogers.
Well, he may not realize that they're different people.
Yeah, I feel like...
He seems not that smart.
The explanation that I heard that I like is that it was a propaganda exercise, almost like Cap punching Hitler on plays.
Oh, that's
where
good.
The government, without Red Guardian's knowledge, staged a Captain America fight in the middle of Moscow.
And
he did it, and then he's But the problem with that is why have we never heard of that before? Why does no one else know about it?
Right.
If it's propaganda, so none of it makes any sense. I'm sure we'll get a scene where Captain America or something or whatever goes back in time and then fights him.
Well, now anything's in play.
Do whatever you want. Maybe he just saw the What If show, and it was him and Captain America fighting. I mean, like, I feel like in the comics, Captain America, like, it's weird. In Marvel Comics, Captain America fought Hitler in 1940s, right, 1942 or 43. He got frozen, and he was frozen for 10 years. They kept making Captain America comics that no one wanted to read because who gives a shit anymore? There's no more Hitler. And he fought Russian guys, and that was a different Cap that they retrofitted to have been secret William Burnside's The Crazy Captain America. But then Captain America was unfrozen in, like, the 50s to do Avengers. So
the 60s, I think. Early 60s.
Whatever, yeah. He's totally active in 1984. So, like, if in comics version, he would have fought the Red Guardian, and I'm sure he did. It all of them might have been U.S. Agent, though. I can't remember, because Cap quit a couple of times. He quit around Vietnam.
After he found out that Richard Nixon was the secret head of the even eviler Ku Klux Klan.
The Secret Empire, yeah. So there's that, too, when he quit. And then there was another guy who took over as Cap. Or not as Cap. Well, that's where U.S. Agent showed up. But then there's also, there was, like, the Nomad character, Jack Monroe. So there's just, like, a bazillion of them. And I don't know. I could see, like, I think the thing with Marvel and Disney is I feel like we've invested too much in movies and shows and not enough. Remember how the movies used to come with the little, one-shot 10-minute scenes of, like, bullshit? I feel like this would be a perfect one-shot. It's just William Burnside fighting Captain America, or Red Guardian as Captain America in the 80s. And it's, like, a scene that nobody sees but Red Guardian, and it's, like, why he believes this or something. Like, I feel like you could totally do that in a one shot, but it doesn't merit an entire Disney Plus series or a movie.
Right.
So we'll probably never see it, but it should. That's perfect for a What If.
You need, like, more Marvel vignettes, but even outside the What Ifs, like, what happened in this, like, side story, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, like, there used to be, I forget what it's called in comics, because it's not even What If, but there was just, like, as I was reading one of them the other day, like a volume of X Factor comics, and they just did, like, 6 or 7 pages of what's it like when this one does paperwork. It's annoying for her, and you just have that. It doesn't matter. It was part of a larger story, but it's not quite like those kind of collections they do now, where it's like the 50th anniversary of Green Lantern, so everyone writes a 1-page story, and then we assemble them. It was like a little, like, slice of life comic bit. I think we could use those in movies now.
Yeah.
And it's Disney Plus. Like, they do all that shit where it's like Forky explains what it's like to be sad.
All the Simpsons stuff. They have the, like, Maggie adventures. They did one for Loki. I
think they could sell Red Guardian's half hour of Russian power or something, and it's just really silly propaganda video created by Red Guardian, or, like, narrated by Red Guardian. That is, this is when I did this mission, and we need to hire David Harbour or not. Hire another actor. Do it super cheap, and just put it on Disney Plus.
Anyone can do that accent. It's not the David Harbour exclusive.
Listen, I don't think David Harbour's, like, commanding the highest salaries in the world right now, so, I mean, we could probably get him.
That's true. I think we could do David Harbour. I think it'd be funny to get David Harbour as Red Guardian doing interviews maybe now or something, or, like, doing a briefing, and then a really, like, and he's telling us the story, and then Ryan Gosling as Red Guardian, and it's like, yes, I was very tall and strong Russian chin, and it's like, did you though? And you had a different chin now, and he's like, it was super soldier chin, and and it's just him kicking ass and taking names. Like,
that'd be great.
Yeah, I'd eat that up, and you can put all the other guys, Ursa Major, all them can be in it too. It'd be so fun. I mean, a different guy that he didn't break his hand casually. It's funny that there was a spy movie where, like, everyone died and got chopped in helicopter bits and stuff, and the most bloody, gruesome scene is the arm wrestling competition.
Yeah, right? That's a good point.
Yeah.
Get that PG-13 rating.
What else did we think of this movie? Anything else about Black Widow?
I'm good.
Can we talk about the post-credit scene? I really want to do that.
Let's talk about the post-credit scene.
Okay. I guess there's 2. There's the one where she just dyed her hair and the guy that apparently isn't Taskmaster got a Quinjet somehow.
Yeah.
Where do you get those? I get getting a helicopter, but where do you get one of, like, the Quinjets? I don't know.
Well, if you just give him time and money, then he can do it.
time
Yeah,
and
maybe
money.
the Avengers just leave them everywhere. You go to, like, Sokovia, and then the whole city explodes, and no one's like, is the Quinjet okay? But, so there's that one, and then there's another one where Florence Pugh is going to Natasha's grave, which is under the tree where her mom is buried. Very cute. And then also fireflies because of the beginning of the movie. But also, what's her name? Or no, I guess that's in the first scene, right? That's where Natasha is, where she gets the plane. But there is the grave bit, which is so funny because it totally, if you watch these movies in order, spoils all the Endgame stuff. But I guess maybe it, like, works differently, where you'd, like, watch it in order, like, you'd see it after Civil War, and you go, oh my god, Hawkeye's gonna kill Natasha in Endgame. And then you see
That'd be
Endgame, and
sick.
it's like, that's actually not what happened at all.
That'd be
But,
super
yeah, Val sneaks up and is like, hey, by the way, you want to kill Hawkeye? Here's a picture of him. And Yelena's like, yeah, that's what I want to do. And I'm like,
totally in line with my character. Just want to
Who
kill
the
this
fuck-
motherfucker.
yeah, why? Don't you know? Does no one know? What did Hawkeye tell people happened on Vormir, you know?
It's a good
Is he
question. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
'Cause all we
I-
see is he comes back and he's like sad, and everyone's like, "What happened?" He's like, "I don't want to talk about it."
Yeah.
I
And
legit
then
have
Hulk-
nothing for this. I think this
Hulk
one's like
snapped
bananas.
and said, like, I couldn't bring her back because of the rules. So you feel like even if you didn't believe Hawkeye, you'd believe Hulk. And it's like, yeah, I guess they had to trade it for some. I don't know. Does, like, maybe Hawkeye told it really unconvincingly. And he was like, you guys, you'd never believe it. I was like, please don't sacrifice yourself, Natasha. I'll sacrifice myself. And then she was just like, no, you have a family. And she jumped right off the cliff. And I tried to grab her, but I couldn't. Anyway, I have the stone and she's dead. We can move on. And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we already know that if he did just throw her off a cliff, then that would work. So
Yeah. But, like, also, I do think it's insane in context of that movie that no one knew that going in. Like, Nebula didn't tell them this is probably what's going to happen on Vormir.
Right,
But we've talked about that. But also, like, him and Natasha are friends. She can't shut up about him in this movie. Like, Yelena knows that. I want to say she's his kid's goddaughter or godmother. Like, I don't know. I'm sure in the movie, in, like, the Hawkeye show, she'll show up and, you know, they'll be friends. But
well, he is an agent of the American government, so maybe she just, assumes that, well, of course, he has no real loyalties and will easily betray anybody.
that's true. And he does play golf, so you can't trust him, you know? Mm-hmm. And something about mustard on hot dogs. I feel like a lot of the things, every time they make a Hawkeye, like, personality choice, it's just that he's weird. Like, it's like, ugh, you like this? You're trying to build a deck onto your house?
He loves
Weird.
his kids. That's like...
Yeah, what a weirdo.
What a weird guy.
Yeah, I think that this is one of the points at Marvel where they have gotten to the point where their stories is one long movie that will never end until we're all dead, and this is just like the next link in the chain, and we're just here to like leave breadcrumbs. Like,
Yeah, man. It's if only we had an example of something else where that like really, really hurt the story.
No, if it was good, though, instead of this where it's done.
Yeah.
But also-
you're talking about Hulk.
One other thing about Val, I don't like it in this scene. I think it's weird that she sneezes and ruins the sad little funeral. But also, I was thinking about this week, and I put it in one of the videos. I feel like she's a different character than the one they keep saying she is. Her name in the comics, or in the show, is like Contessa Valeria Lager de Fontaine, who is more or less Nick Fury's girlfriend in the 60s and 70s and 80s, and then they were like, actually, she's kind of a spy for everybody in the like late 2000s. I think she's actually closer to a character named Val Cooper, who is an X-Men character who creates X-Men teams. I only bring this up because I think the Dark Avenger she's going to create is going to be named the same name as the first team Val makes, which is called Freedom Force. I feel like once she has her team, that's what it will be called. And I feel like, because you can't call it Avengers 2, and if it's not the Avengers, everybody will know that, but the Freedom Force will show up and beat the shit out of people.
I really hope they do call it Avengers 2.
Right? Oh my god.
You all right there?
Yeah, I took a
You
bad sip.
Trying to bring
I wanted
up
to say-
a heartfelt moment.
I'm going to say New Avengers or Avengers Zero, because I love my Coca-Cola products, but they also did a Coke too. So
I thought it was New Coke. They did Coke too.
they did Coke too in the like mid 2000s. It was a more bitter Coke. It had a little bit of a kick. Honestly, out of all of the Coke variants,
it had lived a long life. It was a little more jaded. You know, its
Yeah.
kids weren't really calling anymore. Its wife had left it.
like it's not like Coke Zero where it wasn't a 0-calorie kind of thing. So like I think Coke Zero beats the shit out of Diet Coke and Diet Pepsi. But if I could just pick one of the sugary ones to drink, I like Coke 2 better than Coke 1 by a mile.
That's crazy, huh? Well, I mean, I've never even heard of it until this moment, but
It's the kind of thing that people would get. You'd get Coke 2, and you'd be like, this doesn't taste like Coke. And I'm sure that's why it failed. Besides the fact that everyone, compared it to New Coke, which I never drank. But, yeah, there was a Coke 2.
it was like, I didn't touch that shit.
Yeah. But, yeah, I feel like there'll be the Freedom Force for sure. Which in the comics, the Freedom Force was when the comics government was like, we have all these captured evil mutants. You want to see if they could kill the people we want to kill? So Val got like Mystique and it was pretty much just the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, but now they're good. It was like Mystique, Avalanche, Pyro, Blob, all the big guys. Spiral was in there, and they just did missions and eventually went bad, kind of, and that was the end. But anyway, so it's all just that. I feel like instead of Avengers, I feel like this will be called the Freedom Force eventually because it will make more sense that way. And that feels like the vibe of U.S. Agent. But, I don't know, Julia Louis-Dreyfus is cool. I like her.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah. That's all I got.
Yeah. Diggins?
It's a good movie.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
All right.
Music was good. The directing was fine. I liked the part where they ate food.
Go see it. It's good. It's good.
Yeah,
It's a
it comes
fun
on
time.
Disney Plus in October. You're well within your rights to wait, and it's not
Yeah,
going to
it's
make a
true.
difference. You've heard all the things we've said, so you know what happens in it. And you've watched the trailers probably, so you can pretty much just see what happens in it. But yeah, it's a watch that I feel like goes down smooth, like it's like a solid action movie.
Like a good whiskey.
Yeah, and Scarlett Johansson is good in these. Like, she is
Yes.
solid. I don't think this is the last we'll see of her. I'm sure we'll see some other. I think we'll see some other version of her. But if this was her last one, I'd be like, good on you, ScarJo.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not convinced anything's ever done with this shit, but no, I'm
Yeah.
with you. I agree with the sentiment.
Like, I feel like we might have. We might never see, like, Robert Downey Jr. again. Although I still think we will. But like with her, I feel like this doesn't feel like enough of a swan song. Like, oh my god, the last Black Widow movie you've ever seen. So yeah, really good stuff. And that's the only Marvel thing that came out this week. No, I'm just kidding. There were
Short
comics.
podcast. Wow. Oof.
Yeah, right.
New X-Men. Well, I guess that wasn't this week, but still.
A great show.
Movie. Or are you talking about a great show that
I was going to talk about great show. There's great shows.
up?
What other Marvel stuff came out this week, DJ?
Oh my god, I'm trying to find the joke, but I feel like I just burned it when I did the stupid guess the IMDb page. Loki.
Yeah, Loki.
Loki.
Okay, guys, so we're done with Black Widow.
Oh my god.
The most iconic thing of all week of Marvel, for sure.
Nothing more in the zeitgeist, right? We're all
Easily the best Marvel thing all week.
Yeah, but now that we're done with that, let's talk about another thing.
Yeah.
DJ,
All right.
do you want to say what it is?
Fucking talking about Loki. I'm so excited and hyped to do
Hold
this.
on.
Wait.
Hold on. Shut up, DJ.
Oh
Shut
my
up.
god.
Wow.
Oh
We're
my
doing
god.
IMDb first.
That's
I'm
true.
sorry.
Oh
I'm
my god,
sorry.
Diggins is in charge, and he is bringing out the hammer.
I'm really sorry. That's my fault. I'm sorry. I'm like super sorry, for real. I'm sorry. That was bad of me. Poor form.
DJ, you're this close
Super sorry.
to being
Super
fully kicked off of the show.
That
this
makes
close.
sense. I accept.
This close. Diggins,
Oh,
you're in
man.
charge. You tell us the rules and
The
stuff.
people who think I'm too mean to DJ are not going to like that segment.
Okay,
But they are going to like being right about everything forever. You know, it's trade-offs.
Can I say something? I think that Diggins should get to retain his title for a week, and that this, I don't know what it counts
really?
for, but that's how I feel. I don't know. Like, should he really have to lose it immediately?
I mean, it's up to you.
What's up to Diggins, I feel like. How do
Well,
you feel, Diggins?
That's what I meant. Like, it's up to Diggins, so.
I'm fine with this is just the next one, and then,
Okay.
whoever wins, wins.
Okay. That's very gracious
anyway.
of you.
I have this IMDb summary pulled up. I'm doing the IMDb summary for the whole show, not
Okay.
for an
Right.
individual episode.
Okay.
And we're going to spoil the whole Loki
Oh,
right
yeah.
now.
There's nothing
from
we're
here on
holding
out.
back. Yeah.
Well, you know what? No hints. Just I will say there's one word that if either of you say it, you instantly win.
All right. Got it.
Now, Nando, no, DJ.
Yep.
Yeah.
I get to
DJ
pick.
is our returning loser. Wow, this happened mere hours ago, and I've already forgotten. That's where my brain's at. DJ is our returning loser. You get to pick.
I want Nando to go first.
Really? Even though there's the thing that I can say that automatically wins?
The reason why you will automatically win if you say this word is because neither of you will ever say this word.
Nice. Chicanery. All right.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I definitely want Nando to go first.
All right, well, then I'll just do the normal one. Or like what I was thinking and not try to, go crazy with words. This is tough. Following the events of Avengers Endgame, the god of mischief, Loki Laufeyson, is forced to work with an agent to solve time mysteries. I don't like how I ended it, but I thought the beginning was fine.
Okay. You didn't say the secret word.
Oh, I'm sure I did. I mean, I would love it, but yeah. I didn't feel it. DJ, what about you?
All right, tried and true. I totally got this. Okay. Taking place between the events of Avengers and Avengers Endgame, Loki Laufeyson must confront the fact that he is a variant and team up with a mysterious organization to prevent the end of the universe.
Okay. Good effort. Neither of you were super right, but Nando was definitely more right.
Man, I even put the thing in from the Black Widow, whatever.
Yeah.
I was
The
certain
thing is,
it would.
DJ, Nando also did that, and he did it better than you did.
See, I should have went
You
first.
should have gone first.
I know, I'm an idiot.
I mean, you could also copy me. I don't think anybody would fault you for being like, wow, Nando nailed it, so obviously DJ has to nail it as well and continue on that
Well,
train.
Nando, you definitely didn't nail it. Is the
I
thing,
nailed it.
but you got a couple words, and that you said the thing that's from the Black Widow summary better than DJ said it.
Gotcha.
Now, before we move on, I'm gonna give you each 3 guesses at what the one word I was looking for was.
Can it be like a golden ball situation where if we do get it, or if I get it, I win? I guess.
Yeah, sure. This is the snitch. If you get it, you win because you're not gonna get it.
Let's go.
All right. So starting with Nando because he went first. You each get 3 guesses, back and forth.
Tesseract.
Nope.
Microcosm.
Nope.
Space lizards.
Nope.
It's 2 words.
I was hyphenating.
I'll allow it.
It's, like
It's wrong, so I don't have a problem allowing it.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, right. Crystalline.
No.
Bureaucracy.
Nope.
All right, this is it.
This is it. All the marbles.
Eternity.
Nope.
right,
you were
what's the whole thing?
You were
Let's
both
hear it.
way off. The word I was looking for is the second word I'm going to say in this summary.
Oh, God.
Okay.
The mercurial villain Loki
Oh.
resumes his role as the god of mischief in a new series that takes place after the events of Avengers Endgame.
Oh, I think I did pretty well. Well, I got
Oh my
God
God,
of
are you
Mischief
fucking
and Avengers Endgame. Yeah,
Okay.
fucking
That's
nailed
why
it.
that's why I said you win, because you got
Yeah.
God of Mischief and you said after Avengers Endgame.
I
That's
was
why you
only
won.
doing this to preempt DJ's, tantrum that's about to
Yeah.
happen. So let's hear it, DJ.
Let's go. Let's go. Well, no, I lose like for all time. It's fine. For all time, always I lose.
Yes.
But like, what is it with these summaries just being like taking place after the movie?
Again,
fuck?
it's a Marvel thing, so it has to tell you which movies it's in the middle of.
I guess.
That's the most important part. It knows you're going to watch it, but you might be confused about which movies you have to watch before and after.
All right. Well, I don't want to
Makes
spend too
complete
much
sense to
time
me.
on this, but I lose again. I'm so happy for losing, and I get to fight Diggins next week. So we
Yep.
will begin as we end. Ugh.
Very good.
Very good.
Very good. Okay. That was Loki. Wow. Great
All right.
stuff. All
Well,
right.
Oh man,
Nando,
Nando gets to
you
go
won.
first, so he
So
sets
you
the
get to go
stage.
first.
I mean,
Oh,
it is.
sweet Jesus.
Here's the stage setting. Easily the best Marvel show so far.
Okay.
The most consistent. Loved it
Disney
all
Plus
the way through.
or like including Netflix. I feel
Oh
like
no,
that's...
yeah, just Disney Plus. It's not better than like some of
Okay.
the other ones,
Got
but
it,
it's
got it,
good. I think it would be up there. Like I think Daredevil 3, Daredevil 1, Agents of Shield 4, maybe. Those are all the ones that I think would be in contention, and maybe Jessica Jones 1, and that's it. Runaways 1, Agent Carter 1 wasn't really that great. Agent Carter 1 wasn't bad, but I think Agent Carter kind of overstayed its welcome. And then the cartoons are all better than this. Just kidding. Earth's Mightiest Heroes is great. But I think it's definitely the best Disney Plus show. I think WandaVision Episode 2 is still my favorite individual episode of any of these, except for maybe Loki 6, which I loved. But I think Loki felt like, and I kind of assumed this might be true because of reshoots and pandemic stuff, and this being the one that didn't have that as an issue, where the other ones definitely did. This felt like a very complete kind of like vision, and I didn't think I would care as much about this one as I did. I love Tom Hiddleston. Pretty much everybody in the supporting cast was great, and I thought that it ended in a very interesting, satisfying, cool way. And yeah, I liked it. The music was good. The effects were good. It was quick. I love these 6-episode things. I think we could definitely, even WandaVision, I think could have maybe been 6. So yeah, the 10 out of 10, just great stuff.
Oof.
He's so handsome. It's unfair, that guy, Tom Hiddleston, he's just the handsomest man. And they keep him all greasy and like they got the hair going. It's a great look. And you know what else about this show? Speaking of Tom Hiddleston, it was a lot of Tom Hiddleston, but it wasn't. I was worried a little bit that it would be like wacky Tom Hiddleston and boring Owen Wilson the whole show. And I do think maybe we could have done a little bit more of just them two solving crimes. But I do think a lot of the rest of the dynamic between the other characters that showed up gave Tom Hiddleston a little bit more room to be, like understated. And it was, I think all of the supporting cast was very, very fun. And I think they used him very well. Like, I feel like there were, we talked about WandaVision and Falcon Winter Soldier, but it's like Darcy in WandaVision, and you're like, she was fine. I didn't love her scenes, but I feel like almost every supporting character in this show I was super into, and I was like, yeah, I'll take a whole show of them. So yeah, all in all, great stuff. Best Marvel Disney Plus show so far. Although, yeah, I do think the other ones had their moments. DJ, what about you?
Okay, so I agree with Nando that this is the best Disney Plus Marvel show. I will say that I think that episode 4 was very strong and really, 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 really good. And I think that's where it peaked. I think this show needed more runway, given how it ended. I didn't hate the ending, but I was like, are we really doing this? And I know we're going to talk about this, so I don't want to go into it too much now. But I am a fan of like a complete story being told. And I'm not saying that's not what happened here, but I was left questioning, like based on how it ended. I thought all the actors were phenomenal. I thought the music was great. The set dressing was great. Miss Minutes, like when she pops up at the end, you're like, oh, Miss Minutes! And that was just like fun. And I love how the show like always had me like taken to like a certain place where I'm like, yeah, this is great. This is great. This is great. I love what's happening. Like, it did the stuff that I wanted from WandaVision better. And I don't even mean cashing in on a reveal, but just kind of taking the story to a logical place where it makes sense. And, like, whatever. If certain people were right, if certain people were made into gifts, that everyone agreed with them, you know, like, that's fine. But I think, you know, the story it told is more important. And just so it happened to align with where the story was going based on the comics, like, that's just kind of incidental. So I liked it overall. I wasn't blown away by the ending. I think it could have done a lot better. I think it could have been longer. Like, maybe the last episode had to be kind of a little movie. I'm glad it didn't end with, like, a giant sky beam, but I think they kind of ran out of room and just kind of cut the cord on the show.
It's a sky ring. It was a sky. It was a little ring of sky instead of a beam.
Yeah.
They've learned their lesson.
So like, again, leaves you with, like, a little eh. But overall, I would say good show, and yeah, best Disney Plus show. I love Loki. Give me more talky Marvel shows that could be like prestige drama and, you know, interesting things happening. And yeah. So with that, I will pass it to Mr. Christopher Diggins, who I'm sure has no dissenting opinion and feels the exact same way as Nando and I do, a la Black Widow.
Yeah, so we might as well just skip right over.
That's fair, right?
Like, we
why
just
hear
heard
it
it from
for a
me
third
and
time?
DJ.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't say Loki is the best Disney Plus show. I do think I like WandaVision more. However, I would say Loki. I would agree that Loki is the most consistent of the Disney Plus shows. Which maybe ties into the pandemic thing you were talking about, but I don't know. It seems more fundamental than that. But it is the most consistent in the sense of, like, it feels like they had a constructed vision that they were going for the whole time, that it was built around. And, well,
vision,
you know,
vision.
Yep, that's it. And even though there were some bumps along the road, they were generally pretty good at hitting those moments, getting those beats, moving things forward in a way that worked really well. I think the first 5 episodes of Loki are overall pretty great. Really enjoyed them. I think this show ends almost as badly as Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Almost. The ending is absolutely terrible. It is a 30-minute commercial for the next 5 Marvel movies that has nothing to do with the 5 episodes that happened before it. It sucks. It sucks so bad. It is everything I was afraid the ending would be. I was like, going into this ending, I was like, God damn it. I mean, there's so many things they could do here that would, like, work. I'm worried it's just gonna be this one thing that would totally suck and, like, destroy the show, and that's what it was.
Wow, what destroyed this show?
Oh my god!
I mean, look, I don't want to invoke Game of Thrones here.
Oh,
it's not that bad.
God.
It's not that bad. It isn't that bad. I'm saying it's not that bad.
Wow.
But that's the only other point of reference I have for where, like, this ending has me looking back on the show and just, like, being so much less excited than I was after episode 5 because of how bad the ending is.
Damn.
Oh my god!
Ravaged.
I can't even believe it. It's incredible.
Oh my
Never.
god! Who ran this show and who directed it? Call their kids, because Diggins just murdered them. Oh my god! Oh my god!
I mean, really, only this episode. Everyone else, great job.
Well, Kate Herron directed all episodes, all 6. So,
well, the direction's not really the problem, is it?
Well, she's
Actually,
the showrunner.
yeah,
the
she's also the
direction
showrunner.
Okay, well then maybe it's a little her fault, but the direction of that episode was really good. The opening, like, shot of them, like, going into the time mansion or whatever, that opening scene, pretty good. I liked it a lot. When a certain character shows up, that's when it becomes terrible.
Oh god,
incorrect.
Fucking call Jonathan Majors next of kin. Call Kate Herron's next of kin.
It's not his acting's fault. He's doing a fine job.
Oh,
He's doing an amazing job.
Yeah,
He's
amazing.
fabulous.
He's the best.
Amazing. That's right.
I don't know where we take this. All right, so I'm gonna. All right. I'm gonna ask Diggins a question. Okay, so Diggins, is there a way they could have said, "Hey, it's like Kang or Immortus or whatever. Spoiler, that's who it is. We already said Jonathan Majors.
We already gave the spoiler warning. If you're still listening, it's your own fault.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
is there a way that like that character, like the man at the end, like whatever, that character shows up and you're cool with it?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's just a structure of you didn't like that it was just like him with his like backstory and kind of like multiverse bullshit and like that was all, like...
Yeah, what I don't like about this ending is that Loki and Sylvie walk into a room where the wizard behind the curtain, the secret man behind everything, is some guy they've never met and don't know who he is, who then spends like literally half an hour talking about his backstory, which has nothing plot-wise, thematically, emotionally, anything at all to do with anything about them or anything they've done in the past 5 episodes. It's literally just its own thing, setting up the future Marvel movies that has zero to do with Loki, with the Loki TV show, other than time travel, I guess. And like just goes on and on about the shit that has nothing to do with the show. The show grinds to a halt for him to give his big monologue about here's how the next few movies are going to go. And it fucking sucks so bad. It sucks so bad.
Oh my god. I can't even...
All right. Nando, counterpoint.
I mean, like, what is great about it is that, like, if you get to this point in the show, and if you get to episode 5, and then they go, like, there's a castle with a guy in it, and that's the whole thing, and we gotta figure out what to do after that, it doesn't matter who's in the castle as long as they do a couple of things. They set up a choice for Loki and Sylvie to make and set up some sort of stakes and conflict. They are interesting to watch, and they move the story forward, and it kind of makes sense, all the stuff that happened. And Kang does all of that. I feel like there is a vibe. There is a vibe on the internet that is, oh my god, a surprise villain, it's bad. But it doesn't matter who it was. If it was the fucking clock, or if it was another Loki, they would still have to go, here's what my deal is, here's what I'm about, and here's why you should or should not kill me. And that's what this one does. So
nope, that's where we lose each other.
That's exactly what it does.
No, he doesn't. He does everything he says has nothing to do with Loki and Sylvie. He tells them his backstory.
He tells them why he made the TVA and what the TVA's deal is, which is the whole question of the last 3 episodes.
He barely talks about that. He talks about his own backstory and eventually this is why I set up the TVA, but it's his own stuff. But that has nothing to do with them. That's pure plot information.
His backstory is the backstory that the TV video with Miss Minutes gave in episode 1. It's that if variants happen, that makes multiversal war, and we don't want to do that. And you're always kind of like in the back of your head, like, yeah, but why? Why is that so bad? And the answer is because if you get too many deviations, then we veer off this path that this guy has created. And I understand people thinking
that's what we already knew, that if you get too many deviations, it comes like. The fact that it's this specific guy who set it up that doesn't get answered.
But
really.
Somebody he totally explains it. He says, "No, I am preventing myself." He said, "What do you have to worry about?"
Who cares?
And he says, "Me."
Who are you? What do you have to do with any of this?
Well, he explains it to you. That's the thing. He says,
"I'm the guy." He explains the plot of it, but he has nothing to do with them as people, as like a TV show that is happening. It has nothing to do with them thematically at all.
But he does. Like, it's like the Wizard of Oz. The Wizard of Oz is the wizard. And we kept asking who's the wizard, and it's him. And he explains...
Well, yeah, you're talking about on a plot level. I'm talking about, like, what does his story as a person have anything to do with Loki and Sylvie's story as a person? Not on a plot level.
He's
on, like,
the same
how does
as
it resonate?
them.
No, he's not.
Yes.
He has nothing to do with them.
They are variants trying to escape the futures they believe they will eventually become like their worst selves. And that's who this guy is. This is the guy who expended all of his energy trying to keep his worst self out of the equation. This whole show is about chaos and order and fighting what you believe is your nature and your purpose. And this guy is ultimate purpose man who spent all of his power and stuff, like, believing that he is going to destroy the world and destroy the multiverse. So he needs to wipe out all of these civilizations and all of these people to stop himself from doing a bad thing. And it's about this free will and control, and that's like the theme of the show. Kang is the perfect villain for that because that's what his whole deal is. So, like, if they're going to go into a house and say, or into a room and talk to a character, it's got to be a character who is the bad variant, like the worst variant or the best variant doing the worst thing. And that's what this guy is.
If I may, I'm going to both sides this so hardcore because I agree with you both so much. So what I wonder is you for me, I find the most interesting part of this is where for me, I feel like Kang represents this idea for Loki and Sylvie, and I don't think this was proven out necessarily in this episode solely. I think it's part of like episode 1 and kind of their journey, where we are stuck in this lack of free will like tube, where we're not allowed to do our own thing. There's other versions of selves, and they're the chosen ones. They don't get pruned. Right? And they get to, like, live their happy lives, and isn't that great? Get killed by Thanos. Wow, that sucks that has to be my journey, or my variant's journey. And then what Kang represents is, what do you value more? Do you value your own free will, or to stop this, like, this weird boogeyman? Now, what I think is weird is, Sylvie just goes, like, hey, he could just be lying. And for me as an audience member, I'm like, I know he's not lying, because I feel like I have this, like, comic background information. But if you're just watching this, like if you're a viewer with no background information, you never watched like Nando V movies or Mr. Sunday movies or anything else, you might be like, yeah, maybe he's lying and I don't care, and like Sylvie has a good point. But if you assume that what he's saying is true, then it's like Loki is willing to sacrifice his own free will to like have there be like general order, and Sylvie is like, no, fuck it, he must die.
That's not really what the show's been about. They've talked about free will a little bit, but it's really not been about that.
Well, what do you think it's about, Diggins?
Yeah, what is it about if it's not about free will?
I think, well, here's where we're running into a problem now, where it feels like it's been kind of loose about that in a way that maybe means that the rest of the structure of the show is loose, is not great, but I think, Nando, you were on solid ground about it being kind of about changing, about becoming a better version of yourself, and things like that. I just don't... That's not the terms in which he put what he was talking about at all. He doesn't... That's not how he's describing it. I see your read on it, and I think that's a valid read. It's not how the show's presenting it.
I mean, so... I feel like if the show has had a specific, like, through line or, like, theme, I think free will is pretty solid, because even if it's not free will, it's free will or it's fate. Like, every time two characters sit down at a table, they talk about fate and free will and destiny and all that stuff. Like, so, and purpose. Like, I think free will as the running theme for the show feels consistent, feels like they earned it. Beyond that, I do think there's something special about this character coming out of nowhere and being a character who you don't know if you can trust or not. And Loki willing to risk, like, being in control and everything just to protect Sylvie from a possible multiversal war that might cause her lots of distress and stuff like that. And I think that this character showing up, as far as everything we've seen, is the best character in episode 6 in this moment, because we have two characters on opposite sides of like you know, we have a character who can convince Loki to maybe think about it, and then we have a character who cannot convince Sylvie because she just won't listen to him.
But that doesn't have anything to do with him. That's just what they...
Right, well,
I don't see how that relates to him at all.
Well, if it was Loki, if it was anybody we knew, their relationship with that character would factor into...
You're right. There would be some drama
decision.
That would be interesting to watch in that case, yeah.
Well, but the drama is this guy's like, you got to trust me, and Sylvie can't trust anybody, so that creates more drama, and that has been her whole thing.
But it's not... I don't think it's interesting drama if it's like, I don't trust a random dude I've never met before and have no reason to trust.
But it's like a guy who's...
That's not interesting.
he seems like he's telling the truth. Like he's
us because we know he is.
No, but even like to them, like how can you not assume that guy's kind of telling the truth? He's got all this power and he knows what everybody's going to say. Like he's the guy.
That's a great reason to lie to people. All those things you just said.
I would argue that the reason I think that Loki, I don't know, not trusts, but at least buys into what Kang is saying is that what Kang is presenting is the premise of the TVA, right? That's not a surprise. Like, in a way, the TVA was telling the truth the whole time. Now it's like, well, I don't agree with your methods, but at some point, you know, I feel like Loki bought into, like, that idea of the TVA, even, like, via Mobius. So it's like, okay, so, like, they were just telling the truth, but, you know, I think their, like, reasons are fucked up. But also, it's, like, the idea, right? Like, it's not out of nowhere, right? He shows, like, I know everything you're going to do before you do it. Here's what it is.
Until suddenly I don't, which is a great
sucked,
device.
by the way. That sucked so hard. It removes the fangs, and it's like, that's frustrating. It felt like you writers got lazy. I hated it so much.
No, because I feel like he can't know everything they're going to do.
Why?
Otherwise it's boring. Because then
but then why set that
do.
up? But then why set that up in the first place?
Yeah, don't do it, period.
Well, I mean, I
Have
feel
the
like
threshold been passed.
No, well, I feel like he could say, like, I know everything we're going to say. I feel like he could have leveled with them in the beginning and been like, I know what everybody's going to say up until about 10 minutes from now. So after that, we're going to all have to choose. But I feel like one of the things I liked about the version of Kang or whatever, the one who remains that we find is like, he knows what's up, but he doesn't completely know what's up. Like, I like that. I think that kind of helped me go, like, we don't know if we can trust this character. Even I know who it is and, like, what they're going for as a comic reader and stuff, but I still wasn't, like, this guy's telling the truth. And I like that. I feel like by him saying, like, by the way, I lied a little bit. Now I can't be, like, we're not sure where things are going, helps you go, like, okay, well, maybe I bought it before, but now I'm on the fence with both of these guys. Here's a question, Diggins. This is a question I have.
Mm-hmm.
If it was, let's say, maybe it's not Miss Minutes. Let's say it's not Miss Minutes. But let's say it is the clock. Or not the clock, excuse me. Let's say it is the one who remains. And it's just a guy, and it's fucking, I don't know, William Hurt.
Sure.
And he's wearing William Hurt. And he's wearing a robe, and he's like, I'm the one who remains. I did all of this stuff in the past, and, like, there's versions of me, and I am, my backstory, which I feel like I have to explain at least a little bit, is why variants are bad. And I got into this position to get rid of variants and stuff. And then they kill him, and then he dies. If he's not Kang, or related to Kang, do you still dislike this character?
Yeah, I mean, if there's no change other than he's not important, then it's just like, then there's no reason we did all this. At least now there is the plot reason.
But there has to be somebody at the top of the TVA.
Right. No,
like,
I agree. I agree with the thing you said about, like, it doesn't really matter who it is. I agree with that. I'm not mad that it is Kang. I think there's plenty of ways you could do Kang, it being Kang, that totally work. But what frustrates me about it is how I feel like he just kind of shows up and has nothing to do with the story as it was being told. I understand what you said about, like, him being like, I have to prevent the worst versions of myself, and, like, that's, like, your journey. But, like, that's not the terms he puts it in, really.
Sorry, Diggins, go ahead.
It's not the terms he puts it in. It's not the vibe I get from his character at all. He doesn't seem especially, like, he vaguely threatens, like, oh, there's going to be worse versions of me then, but he just seems to be speaking very generically about, like, it's bad when there's multiverses. Oh. Well, and I just, it's like, okay, so we get to the big moment of Sylvie can't trust him, and so she tries to kill him, and Loki is trying to prevent it because he is somewhat convinced. But there's no drama to it for me because it's so clinical. Because there is no, like, there isn't, like, Loki sees himself in this guy and, like, there isn't like Loki sees his journey paralleled in Kang's journey, and like that makes him want to trust him, or there isn't like really pressing on like how what this guy did like robbed her of her entire life, or pressing on like emphasizing differences between them, where it's like his journey is about being the one who prunes all the variants, and that makes her, and she is the collateral, and they don't emphasize any of that. They don't really go for any of that. It's just this pure plot, like, I am the multiverse man, here is the multiverse things I did. If I die, then Doctor Strange movie will happen.
And,
just sucks.
This was supposed to come out or after Doctor Strange, so I do think there's a little bit of a variance there.
Yeah,
I
we're
feel
here,
like
right? Like we're here.
Oh, we are here now, but I feel like this is a bigger picture thing than just like leading into the next movie. It's just like the next problem, I guess.
Sure.
But DJ, what were you gonna say?
I wanted to tack on to Diggins' point. So I think a big problem with how that was done was we only had like 45 minutes in this episode, and I maintain that I think where it ended is like not great. I mean, we didn't even get Owen Wilson on a jet ski, but we'll maybe get to that. I think that because we got this guy who, and right, it doesn't matter who he is, it doesn't fucking matter, but where he spends a good chunk of time saying, like, I'm a man from the 31st century, and we made a Council of Ricks, and it was fucking sick. Like, none of that matters or is germane here. And moreover, I think the fact because he doesn't even kind of pick a side, where he's just like, I'm tired and bored, someone else do it, I don't give a fuck. Like, at least if he's like, no, listen, like, if Loki's with him, maybe he makes an attempt to appeal to Sylvie's sensibility. Like, Sylvie, I paved this path for you. You don't meet Loki, and you don't become the person you are without me. And now maybe she like buys into that premise or doesn't. But I think you need that balancing there, or where he's trying to come to, like go to her sensibilities, or tempt her or whatever. But he's just pretty much cool with whatever goes down, and you remove all the tension from the end. Then, like, I don't really care if he dies or not. Because, like, I know what's going to happen, but if he doesn't care and if he's, like, tired, like, why should I fucking care, right?
Well, I feel the tension exists between Loki and Sylvie. I feel like Kang or Mortis or whatever, his whole deal is just like, I am here to present you guys with a conundrum that you will both be on opposite sides on. I kind of like that he's like, I don't really care what you do. You're going to do one thing or the other, and I'm kind of tired of it either way. But, like, the difference in outcomes matters more to you both individually than it does to me, in the sense that this could be, like, a riddle written on a wall that they have to fight over whether they go with or not.
Yeah.
I like that Kang is there as almost not impartial, but is like, he's not trying to convince them necessarily. He's just trying to give them all of his information and see what they do with it. But I also think the idea, I kind of wish he had said this, I guess, but I think the things that you guys have been like, oh, they don't communicate this, and I wish this was more. I feel like the whole show has been leading up to this moment where there's someone in charge that has similar issues to what they've been dealing with. And I feel like
they don't do that.
But they've talked about it enough that it's like, I don't want to, we know what Sylvie's deal is. I feel like we don't need it spelled out in like that plain terms of like, you see, I am I've pruned all of these realities and you're a collateral. Like, I feel like we got that. We've always known that about her.
But they
pretty much from the beginning, like episode 3, when they sat down and she explained all of her backstory in the train. So, like, I feel like all this guy any character in the castle has to do is say, I'm the purpose. Like, I caused all of this, but here's why you maybe shouldn't kill me. And, like, Sylvie, because I caused all of this, you're going to want to kill me. And Loki, here's the reason you probably maybe shouldn't. And then you guys can fight over that.
But that's just so clinical. Like, obviously I'm aware that that's how Sylvie feels, but like, if you don't make me feel that in the moment, then like, why do I care? I'm still like, it's like, yeah, it's kind of like what we were talking about with Black Widow. It's like, we're aware that she hates Dreykov and like she has all these valid reasons to, but the movie hasn't really done the work to make us feel like a personal hatred of him in a way, in that way. So like, it doesn't really land when they're discussing things because we don't have a real relationship with that guy. And now again, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's someone we've met before or not, but they're not doing any work to like actually integrate him into their story. He's just being like, yeah, here's the stuff. Have your fight, I guess. And it's just, it doesn't land because they're not putting in that work.
Yeah. And alternatively, I feel like you could have a scenario where, so the beginning of their encounter, right? There is a tension because Sylvie is like, I'm going to murder you, and she cannot. So even if Kang could be whoever, what if he's the first problem Sylvie cannot overcome? Sylvie has lived her entire life overcoming obstacles and using brute force or cunning to get over those problems, whether it's like the dog, like right at the end before Eliath or whatever, or the TVA or whatever. She's like always been able to get past it. But what if like Jonathan Majors is, oh yeah, you can't kill me because I know what you're going to do. But he's like, I'll give you a choice, and here's the kicker: I know what you're going to do. You either step into that box and live your best life ever, but I get to continue do my thing, or I will cease my job and let the multiverse run rampant if you kill Loki. Like, give her a truly impossible choice. Like, something that she might struggle over, or, like, have to contemplate, or think, like, oh my god, I don't know what to do, because I can't slash or think my way out of this, because I'm in front of literally a god. But we get to literally a god, and it doesn't matter, right?
I mean, I feel like with the Loki, Sylvie, Kang kind of power triangle, you have, like, I think when we go into the castle before we meet Kang, it's very like, we're gonna kill this guy. This guy is bad. He's recruiting people. He has this evil sky dog. And I feel like Kang, throughout that conversation with them, makes a case for not necessarily like, I'm not a bad guy, but just like, it's actually not a good idea to do this thing that you came here to do, in what I think is an unhinged but convincing way. That I feel like the reason that Kang works in that moment is because, besides being generally charismatic and like, this guy knows stuff, is just also like, this is something we hadn't really considered before. Like, at no point, I feel like Loki, from minute one of this show, is like, actually, free will is good, and it's bad that the TVA is doing this. So I feel like having a character in the 11th hour come in and explain to Loki, like, here's why you're wrong about free will. And because the show, I feel like the Sylvie Loki dynamic that you described kind of presents, I feel like that as a show that Loki is the main character for and like the protagonist of, Loki has the choice here, and Sylvie is more of a force of nature that Loki has to decide what to do with. And like, he is the whole conflict of the episode comes at the expense of what Loki's willing to let Sylvie do, or I guess if Loki's going to kill Kang, but like pretty quickly it seems like that's not what's going to happen. But so I don't mind that Sylvie doesn't have a really difficult choice. I like that no matter what this guy says, Sylvie's like, I don't care, I'm going to kill you. And Loki is the character that gets pulled in all of these different directions based on, his experience as a variant, his experience as a bad guy. Like,
But then, why does Loki believe him? Like, what's the compelling story reason for why he believes him?
He grew a belief in the TVA, which is a consistent story with what Kang said. Like, I at least buy that Loki is.
But that's not a compelling story reason, really.
And Loki understands the value of like being in charge and like heroes and villains in that relationship.
It's
and
Kang's
I guess
glorious purpose.
It's not that Loki believes him; it's that Loki doubts Sylvie at that point. So it's not that he like fully believes him, but he's like, we might not be like, this might be dangerous. Like we might be risking what we have right now.
He's like, let's talk, and she's like, no, let's murder. He's like, wait,
yeah,
can we talk before murder?
Like, so, but then like again, that's not compelling drama. That's him being like, maybe, and her being like, I want to kill right now, and I understand why Sylvie is like that, and I agree even, but it's like, again, it's not dramatized, so it feels weird in the moment, because we're not dramatizing it in the moment. She doesn't even seem particularly angry, like, acting wise. She's just like wants to do it. But like, if that's the whole thing, if Loki just like heard a thing and is like, I don't know, sounds dangerous, like that's not drama. That's just, I don't know.
The drama in that moment for me comes from the way that Loki's changed and his values have shifted over the course of the series from where Sylvie is, which is like the free will at every, at the cost of whatever, versus the like, I really care about you, and now actually I want to protect Sylvie.
I don't think that's an accurate read on Loki's growth in the series.
I think that's absolutely. I think like Loki stopped fighting for himself and he's like concerned about her well-being, and that's the first thing.
Right, that's totally different than the thing you said.
Well, but that's what I'm saying is like, how is that different?
That you talk about free will. The thing wasn't really about free will. The thing was about how he feels slighted and wants to, he feels like he is owed all of this power and everything. And like, yes, it's about him learning to change and like allow himself to care about others, but that has nothing to do with free will.
So I think free will as a like vehicle for general security, like free will chaos and security order as the conflict that shows up in the end, which is free will and chaos, Loki's nature, what he's been up until now, and then order and chaos, order and security. Like, he never really cared about them, but now he has something in this relationship with Sylvie that he wants to protect, and that free will and chaos make threaten for the first time. So he is. That's why this conflict at the end is terrible for him. That's
really shoehorning in the free will and chaos thing to what the show's been about. I feel like it's really not been in those terms. It hasn't.
It is in episode 5. They're sitting down and he's like, "You're the first thing that I have that's made me not want to, do Loki stuff and backstab him, whatever." So it's
about his personal betrayals. It's nothing to do with free will.
Well, but it's about the idea of protecting Sylvie at all costs. So Loki used to be the god of chaos and disorder, and that's like his whole thing, and mischief. And now it's like, what's more important, Loki? Chaos and free will, chaos/free will and mischief and all of that stuff that used to define you, or caring about Sylvie and her well-being that now defines you.
But no one presents
that is so I feel like fuzzy and disconnected. I feel like you're really stretching.
Kang totally says that. Kang is like they definitely do have a conversation to that effect in episode 5 about like, this is why it's different. Like, well, no,
they have conversations about why he's changed as a person, and like that he cares about her and he cares about other people now, and like that's caused him to rethink his priorities. But that again has nothing to do with free will versus free will and chaos versus order and security or whatever. That's like you're shoehorning that into this other discussion that's about his personal growth.
Chaos and security. The difference between chaos and order is 100% the like whole thing, the whole like the big picture of this show.
It's what they talk about as a big picture, but it's not really what the show's about.
It's what Kang represents. It's what the TVA exists to protect. It's the reason they got rid of Loki. It's everywhere. And Loki as the god of mischief and chaos.
As plot. It's not what the show's about, though.
Well, it's about like Loki's nature being chaotic, and that's why he's like, that's his big problem. But
his nature's not chaotic, though. It's just selfish. Those are different things.
It's both. It's selfish via mischief and chaos. Like, mischief and chaos are kind of the same thing. I feel like that that point is pretty well made. But even beyond, like, getting back to the original point, the order versus chaos thing is Loki used to be about chaos because he's self-serving and he can get through, like, a chaotic situation. And, like, that's something, that's like a world that he has been well accustomed to. But in, you know, after meeting Sylvie and wanting to protect her, chaos becomes less palatable as a, like, way to live and way to rule the universe, because then now she is in danger. I feel like that as a way to, that is a story, like, motivation for a character is like story 101 when it comes to.
But, see, here's the thing with this that falls apart though, Nando, is that wasn't his plan. His plan at the start, when he hasn't had his character growth, isn't to cause chaos and to tear this whole thing down. His plan is to charm the timekeepers and take it over. He doesn't care about order versus chaos. He just wants to be in control. He wants power. He's selfish.
Well,
it's really nothing to do with the order versus chaos thing.
That I think is unclear as far as what exactly he wants to do. I think his charm the timekeepers stuff is part of his, like
he might be
plan
lying
that
to
changes
Mobius
minute to minute,
like
to
he's
kind of
just
get
saying
what he
something to
wants.
Mobius.
But I do think, as far as things that the idea, the conflict that the TVA presents to episodes 1, 2, and 3 Loki is, they are telling him what to do, and they are presenting this orderly world that he does not fit into and doesn't agree with. And, you know, that comes in the big picture stuff where, obviously, like, they're pruning timelines and they're showing him videos and stuff. But then also just, like, the small stuff where he's like, Owen Wilson, you know this is all bullshit, right? And he's like, no, it's cool. And being a stooge is cool. And Loki is kind of explaining, like, that's not how it works.
Well,
and
sorry.
That's it. Like, it's just like, I think the order chaos theme has been present enough throughout the show that a character showing up at episode 6 presenting a scenario that shifts the balance of order and chaos against, like, kind of what Loki had gone into that room for is thematically satisfying to me.
I feel like one thing that's interesting about the show, I guess it's like a broader point, but also kind of about the ending, right? Where, like, yes, this Loki's a variant, but at least the difference between, if we just take the two Lokis, of Loki up until when Thanos kills him in Infinity War, and, like, this Loki that we get to see, they're the same up until, like, the end of the first Avengers. And what's crazy is, like, if you look at, like, even this variant Loki character, his whole thing in Avengers, right, is like, I'm here to give you all clarity that freedom is a big lie, and you think you want freedom, but really what you want is for me to, like, run shit, and that freedom's fake and you don't want it. And what's, like, they would never explore this because there's, like, not enough time, but that's kind of like where Kang's at, right? He's like, none of you are free, you're in my reality, but it's, like, for, like, this really, like, good reason. So, like, there's a version of Loki and a version of Kang who are, like, the same guy, and it would be cool if that was explored, but, like, we don't have time. I feel like...
Or we would have time if we weren't busy setting up all the other movies.
Well, yeah, but, like, also, this show never explores the fact that, like, at one point, Loki thought, like, yeah, like, freedom's bullshit, and I should run the show. But it's fine. Like, I don't think it should do that.
It doesn't really explore those concepts. Again, like, yes, the idea of them are present from the beginning with the idea of the TVA, but it's never what Loki's conflict is about. It's not about.
I think you've got a misread there, because I do think in episode 1, I guess, or it's got to be episode 1, where Owen Wilson sits down with Loki and watches his kind of greatest hits, and he's like, you want to rule the universe? That's really cool. What comes next? Like, what do you really want? And I think what Owen Wilson or Mobius in that moment is kind of getting at is, like, you don't really buy this free will is bad thing. Like, that's not, you keep saying that, but that's just because that's what you're kind of, you've been programmed to do, and that's what you believe. Like, there's something deeper underneath that kind of, I'm Loki and I'm supposed to rule everybody, that is really what's driving you. And at the end of the episode, I feel like Loki's like, yeah, you're right, it's all bullshit. I'm just like trying to, I'm like a guy who doesn't really know what he's up to, and that seems like a deception that I can use to get one over on people. But I feel like pretty quickly Loki drops that pretense and is a little bit more ready to accept the fact that he is this, like, you know, agent of chaos kind of thing.
I feel like it's, but not for Sylvie though, right? Like, he needs like
No,
some
and that's-
hardcore motivation to get there, right?
Well, I think he starts as that, and then over the course of the series, he has this goal that is, I'm going to get rid of the TVA. TVA is bad. And then over the course of the series, he gets new experiences with Sylvie, and by the end, he's like, maybe I shouldn't get rid of the TVA because now I have something that the TVA may actually protect. And I don't even think Loki's like necessarily interested in taking the deal with Kang, because I feel like the character growth has precluded that as well. But that's why I feel like Loki's in this really impossible situation with Sylvie. And I feel like the thing I like about Kang is he just kind of takes their dynamic and just flips it around. Like, because Sylvie's the bad guy in the episode, really. Or, like, she's the thing that where Loki has to fight and Loki has to overcome.
From my perspective, the Jedi are evil.
Right.
Like,
and,
no,
like,
but
you
like,
just...
I mean that as, like, derogatory. Like, I think that's bad.
Well, but it's derogatory because at one point, you know, because it's something we all kind of know. But it's like if the... I mean, but it's that idea as a thing that, you know, puts two characters at each other's throats at the end of a movie. Like, that's not... There's nothing wrong with that.
But even that...
No, there isn't. I agree. But again, I just think they do it really badly. It doesn't... I think you're reading a lot of things and that are just not there, to be honest. It's just... And it just completely didn't work for me because I do not see any of that conflict, any of that interesting drama there at all.
Well, so let me throw a bone. I'm going to throw a bone. So I'll say this. I do see that conflict and drama. However, I feel like how we get to the point where... So at some point shit gets fucked up, right? We're at a point where it's okay, and then it's bad. But, like, for me, I thought that a lot of this shit was rushed at the end. It's like, okay, fight scene. There's, like, a moment where, like, we didn't even talk about the kiss. The kiss, which, like, oh my god, we've destroyed all time. And betrayal, Sylvie gets what she wants. And, like, for me, so much of that happened so quickly, and there was so much other fat in this episode that I would have rather cut, that I wish there was just more. Like, for me, buying into the drama that was presented, actually seeing that to a conclusion where I'm like, oh my god, I can't believe this is happening. Because it did kind of feel like a wet fart after Sylvie kind of stabs Kang.
I want to be clear here, by the way, because I guess this isn't a thing I've actually said. I don't mind at all where we end up with, like, Sylvie, like, pushing him away and then killing him, and happens, he goes back to the TVA and things are changed, like, whoa, time travel stuff, whoa, what's happening, all that. I don't think that's a bad place to end at all.
Like the season finale of
the
season finale of a TV show, even there?
Yeah. I just think that the mechanism to get there is very bad.
Oh, so that's where we disagree. I think, if I was like, fine mechanism, bad execution at end. Like, I'm super on the other end of the spectrum there.
I found the mechanism for me, besides just, I feel like it feels natural enough for me as well, there's got to be a guy and he's got to, you know, have some sort of motive, so he'll have to explain that. But beyond that, I found the fun of it kind of felt like, for me, I enjoyed Jonathan Majors, the way that he was kind of all over the place with this character, kept me more on my toes than I think I would have if we got what I would kind of say is any more traditional version of Kang or Immortus or anything, where he is... Because I feel like the thing about this character that we see here versus the way it usually works in the comics is he's usually one of the more self-assured characters in any Marvel anything. Like him, Doctor Doom, characters like that are like, this is what I'm supposed to do. I'm confident that I'm here to do it. And no matter how many of them are in a scene together arguing about that, like, they all know that actually they're right and they can't be convinced. And I feel like there's a bit where there's an element of that where I think it would get a little boring if he was like more clinical with it in presenting the information. But I think the way that I don't know, just the way that he's kind of unhinged makes that bit where he is just going through his own history, and setting up this choice for Loki watchable and interesting.
I'm going to be honest, didn't really care for the performance.
Oh, really? Damn.
Interesting.
Wow. I loved it. I thought it was phenomenal.
It just felt like not the right tone for what this was supposed to be.
Well, what was it
I don't
supposed
know.
to be?
Yeah, what was it supposed to be?
I don't know. I'm having trouble articulate because this part. I don't think this is even the major part. I think I've covered the major parts of why I don't like this, but it definitely didn't help that I didn't. I don't know. I didn't like him being like weird, jokey man. I didn't like it.
That's interesting.
See, I feel like I wouldn't say he was weird, jokey man as much as just like weird man. Like I feel like the way that he explains who he is like, I've been here forever and it's driving me crazy, and like this is, I can't. But I think I feel like we see enough variation in the way he acts where he goes big and small and like there's something there in terms of like this is what he really believes, and he'll get quiet when he says like, you don't want another dictator because I'm bad but the other guy's worse. But I do think a lot of the big kind of exciting parts of the way that character acts do just come from this guy's just kind of having fun with having two people around, and he's been locked up in this time castle forever. So
I've
he's
only talked to Miss Minutes for all of eternity, for all of
he's
time.
bad
I've
at
only
socializing.
talked to Miss Minutes.
Yeah, and just bad at like communicating this to them as like a just dude who like, and I think that's part of it. Is I think if he came in like Gandalf and was like, I am Immortus, the guy who knows everything, it wouldn't feel as much of a complicated choice for Loki, because then it would be like, well, this guy does know what he's talking about, or he's lying in an unconvincing way. But with this guy, you're like, oh, I don't know what his deal is. He's all over the place. I do think when we find Jonathan Majors again, he will feel like, as Kang, more of a, I don't know, like dictator kind of feeling, like a Saddam Hussein kind of character, where he's got eccentricities, but they're not. They're way more, not like together, but just like he's presenting a more together image to people. But I don't know. We'll see about that. I imagine this performance in Kang will be very different.
I mean, yeah, maybe. Like I said, I don't think it's the major issue here, and the majors issue here.
Love you.
So I don't want to harp on it too much, and like I'll admit this might just be a me thing. I don't know. It didn't work for me.
Fair enough.
I guess it's kind of the same thing with the Russian guy too, where it's just like, I know what Jonathan Majors is like from seeing him speak in interviews and watching some of Lovecraft Country, and this was something like he made a choice, and I prefer the choices to your Corey Stoll's, where it's like
just destroying Corey Stoll today. My God,
I hate him. He's a bad man. He's fine.
Easily one of the worst villains in any of these movies. One of the most forgettable.
Yeah, I mean, Malekith is the other one. Hayward, like they're all just like their guy, but with makeup on or like a suit, doing like I feel like the thing that Marvel has two options, and I guess most movie studios doing this kind of casting do, is like cast the actor who kind of seems like the character on the thing and have them do their thing, and sometimes it works. Like that's what he's not a villain, but that's what Tommy Lee Jones did in Captain America. It's like hire Army Man guy to play Army Man guy, but you have the other option, which is like cast an actor who's really good and have him just go wild with some performance in the other direction. I think as far as we've seen so far, those are usually the ones that work better. I mean, maybe not always, but because like we like Thanos and we like the Red Skull and whatever, but like your Lokis and to some extent your Zemos, your Killmongers for sure. Like there's more when you give the actor a little bit more room to do something interesting, then I feel like that's the sweet spot. But I guess a lot of that does come down to just like with Diggins, there's no accounting for taste. Sometimes you have a guy who jumps on tables and you love it, and sometimes you're a suit and you can't enjoy that kind of thing.
So did
Yep,
you
that's me. I never enjoy fun, weird characters.
Yeah,
ever.
it's a shame. This is Nicolas Cage 101 too. Like this is
Oh,
he could have been this guy.
Don't you dare!
I mean, I get it. You know, you like your white Nicolas Cages, and you don't like an African American man stepping into the role. I get that, but that's what I appreciate about this. You know, it's like it's a little different.
So I have a question.
Does this mean that Reed Richards is black? By the way,
Oh my god! Why not? Let's go crazy.
I think it should. Like, I mean, it doesn't have to, but the fact that this guy is prime Kang, or the way he explains it, like he's not a variant on a variant, like you would assume. And I mean, you know, it's 30 or it's like 1,000 years in the future, but still, it's such a choice that you're like, maybe they are going to get cheaty. Maybe this is happening.
Oh my god, Cheaty is... Oh, I would love that.
Yeah, like he's the right age. He's muscular, like all the Marvel men have to be, and he's, you know, racially similar to Kang, who is supposed to be his descendant. Maybe, who knows? Like that's even up for grabs. Sometimes he's Reed Richards, this, you know, great grandson. Sometimes he's Doctor Doom's, and I don't think they've ever really nailed it down. But his name is Nathaniel Richards, so that would, you know,
I have a question for you.
Drive you in that direction. Yep.
All right. So you guys remember the second Matrix movie near the end?
Yes,
Okay.
I know.
Never seen it.
Yeah.
Never seen it.
Wait, really, Dickens?
Nope. I've never seen the Matrix movies.
All right. So
Any of them? Yeah.
Saw-
I knew
saw
you were
half of the first
racism
one.
before, but transphobia too. This is incredible. This is incredible. I
like
would
we've-
definitely recommend watching one of the Matrix movies,
No,
and then
no,
maybe
no,
the fight
I
scenes
just-
from the second
I
one.
just don't support the alt-right because they're talking about red pilling.
That's fair.
That's
It
what
is
everyone-
fair.
we're gonna have to do it when Matrix 4 comes out, right? Like we're gonna have to do a Road to the Matrix. So
Yeah, I'll believe it's coming out when the trailer comes out.
fair enough.
There's something about that movie that feels like
No.
it will never be released.
My stance has always been clear. I don't believe the movie comes out until it comes out, and sometimes not even then.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
All right. Well, all right, Nando. I mean, Diggins. I'm sorry I have to ISO you out here, but I'm gonna put Nando into a bad position. I promise. It'll totally be worth it. So, like, Nando, like this scene is just the architect scene at the end of the second Matrix movie, right? That's all this is.
It is
like
similar to that scene for sure. Yeah.
And like, so I'll try and this is like so fucked up to explain. Basically, at the end of the movie,
I feel like Diggins has seen this thing.
Like
you know it.
Neo, who
I've
is
seen images of this scene.
Okay.
I don't know what they say.
right. So Neo, who is the one, he's supposed to like save everyone and do his destiny, but he learns his destiny is bullshit. He's given a choice. His choice is to either save Trinity or do what his like past selves have done and just reset the Matrix and restart humanity and restart the war. But if he chooses to save Trinity, then humanity becomes extinct. And, like, that's the choice he's put in front of. And he's like, well, obviously I gotta save my girl and, like, fuck humanity, right? But, like Nando, that's all this is. And if you admit that you like this, you have to admit you like that shitty architect scene at the end of the second Matrix. Because they're the exact same thing. So admit you like the end of the second Matrix movie, Nando. Do it!
Listen, we've done this in movies prior to The Architect. This is, you know... This is the Emperor in the throne room, because the difference between this and the Architect for me, and I mean Good Emperor, not the new one, but like the difference between this and the Architect for me is you have two people go into the room. Different execution, but and the same difference too. And the difference between this and the Architect is you have two people go into the room that are on the same team, and I mean like this isn't exactly what happens to the Emperor, but it's the same kind of deal. And the guy in the room shifts the dynamic to turn those two people against each other and, like, fucks up their relationship. Whereas the guy talking to Neo is just like, isn't all this stuff interesting that you could choose to do or not do? But, like, it's not the choice that matters in the moment with Loki and Kang or with Palpatine and Luke. It's the choice as it relates to the other person in the room. And that's where, for me, the stakes in that scene come, and they don't for, you know, the Architect scene or Rise of Skywalker. I feel like, man, that was the big mistake, and I feel like it's easy to think about how much Rise of Skywalker sucked, but not having Rey and Ben working together, like, in that moment, that's why you give a character a choice, so that they can fuck up in the moment, because you know Rey's not going to go fight she's not going to give up and save all of her friends in spaceships, but maybe the guy in the room she doesn't want to kill. Like, so I think that's the difference. And I feel like other movies have done things like that. I can't think of a ton off the top of my head because I'm looking at posters in my room to help me, and they're all Captain America and stuff. You know what, though? Even Captain America, I feel like Zemo in Civil War does the same thing, where he's like, I'm just going to give you new information that's going to make you two fight, because that's the Loki-Sylvie confrontation. Like, she's the real villain of this show, and she always has been. It's just that her and Loki were never quite on the same page about, like, they were never quite in sync, and Kang only exists to twist that knife a little bit.
Yeah, but Zemo ratcheted up to 11. He, like, Cap was like, Bucky's my best friend. Iron Man's like, I don't care. He killed my fucking mom. Like,
yeah,
the stakes were
but
like
also
so
Zemo
turned
does
up.
that in Zemo does that in a line. Kang takes half an hour to do it.
Nah, I mean that's all about how much you like watching, an African American guy
But I
jump
mean,
around on tables
you
and
can't
robes.
do that. You can't waste this
No,
45-minute
but
episode. You can't do that.
I see. I think honestly, I just really did enjoy that performance and thought it was fun to watch. So I think that helps a little bit. But also, like, I just don't know what else I would rather watch in that moment.
You need more meat
Something
on the
that
bone
has
for
anything
like,
to do with the show that came before it.
or even
But like what?
But I would posit you have to give like more. Like, there's a whole Loki Sylvie fight scene, but they don't have to fight. Like, yes, Sylvie's like the one who's like the aggressor, but you could have her talk to Loki. Like, they shared a moment. Like, you could at least have, like, this show is a very talky show in general. Like, the train scene in episode 3 and, like, a lot of what happens in episode 4. Like, you could have them fucking talk, right? Like, you could get to a point where you're getting more of that, like, where the characters are, what the motivations are, what the show's about. Instead, they fucking fight, and then she tricks Loki and stabs Kang. Right? Like, that
I feel
is
like
not
we've
the
gotten
most
all the
efficient use
talking, though.
Like, it changed everything. Like, to your point, the dynamics were so different. So fucking talk about it, right?
I mean, I would argue we knew going into this that, like, we knew the problems with the Loki-Sylvie dynamic going into the castle in episodes, like, before any of this started, was that she was way more into this than he was. She wanted lots of revenge, and he's just more into her, and, like, that's going to cause problems. And I feel like episode 5 also
I don't know that I agree with that interpretation.
I feel like Loki, and maybe this is just because he's the main character and we're seeing everything through his eyes, but feels much more like, I mean, we know the difference between these two characters, that she's been at this for her whole life and has this big revenge thing and he doesn't. And, like, it's a very John Wick kind of, story. And Loki knows that he wants to destroy, like, at the end of episode 5, that Loki wants to have some sort of happiness with Sylvie, and Sylvie wants to destroy the TVA. And the happiness with Loki at the end, that would be nice, but that's not her main motivation. So I feel like I would need the characters to restate that to me.
I think you're really sidelining Loki's own desire to destroy the TVA. Like, I mean, maybe it's not his priority number 1, but he definitely wants to do it.
I think he wants to as well, but that's why I think there's a conflict in him between keep Sylvie, destroy the TVA, that is now, front and center in this episode.
But but it's not, though. He just instantly decides, okay, I guess we shouldn't. Because this guy said a bunch of stuff over the past half hour. Yeah, he said let's talk about it, sure. But, like, he's not really having a conflict. He's just taking the other side, and, like, they're not talking about it. So, like, I don't know.
But I think that's the issue. I think that those things are there, but they're not explored well. I think, like, that's the problem. At least
I think there's that, and then there's also that, again, for me, Kang just has nothing to do with them as a character. And, like, yes, the conflict is about the two of them, but there's ways to where Kang can represent things about themselves that, drives the conflict that I just don't think he does.
Yeah, Kang could say, Loki, we're the same person. You told everyone freedom was a lie in Avengers, and I also say that.
It doesn't have to be that didactic.
No, yeah, he needs to take out a whiteboard and write down, like, similarities, differences, Kang, Loki. I mean,
Nando
Kang,
whiteboard video.
I feel like the thing that Kang probably needed to communicate that maybe he didn't originally, and I mean, I think he did, but I think he could have maybe. I feel like the whole I am the original variant. I know all of the things that you have been dealing with are variant problems, and you just had a whole episode where you hung out with all of your variants and, you know, had all the chaos associated with that, and I am that times a million. Like,
I don't think he says anything like that.
Well, he does say, like, my variants are the problem, and, like, you don't want to deal with my... Like, he does
like,
say...
I met a bunch of my variants, and they were cool for a little bit, but then eventually we fought. Like,
no, that's not what he says at all. He says some of my variants were cool, but some were bad. Like,
sure.
But that's kind of the difficulty of the show, is that these characters are, you know, complicated, and they grow and stuff, and they have different things.
That's such a stretch. It's just such a stretch.
But Nando,
I feel like
sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I'm pretty sure his last line, like Kang's last line before the fight, is, "You might not like me, but you definitely won't like my variants." Like, so it's like the variant, him being the worst variant, is, I would say, present in his little speech.
But genuinely, I'm not quite sure what you're even getting at, because that's just, like, not a coherent idea.
Well, the idea is that, like, Loki is worried about his own destiny and how, you know, he fits into this bigger picture and changing his nature and all that stuff. And Kang is this example of the guy with the worst nature who, like, you may have thought that your variants and stuff, that it was all cool and you could kind of, I don't know, control that, but maybe you can't. Like, maybe there is some danger associated with different versions of you being in charge, and I don't know.
Those are just, to me, it's like you're saying going from A to Q. Like, those 2 points are not connected.
Well,
I'd have to think about it for a little bit more, because this is a new idea. But the idea, or not new idea, but like a new way of thinking about it, is like the idea that Loki and Kang.
So I'm gonna, while you chew on that, Nando, macro level. It's like macro level. I'm gonna give like more to like ruin overall problem in a span of like 20 to 30 minutes. Meet new guy, major world-ending conflict presented, guy is murdered, fallout not explored.
I don't mind that.
Banging this drum.
So, it being a season finale, I don't mind that, like, we end on a big climactic decision being reached, and next season we'll see what happens because of that decision. I don't think that's a problem.
Maybe it's the jet ski. Maybe I really have a problem with not getting Owen Wilson on a jet ski in this season. Seems like a crappy Chekhov's gun.
Well, I was gonna say, I feel like I kind of wish, and I don't think they could have done this, but it does feel like this is the midpoint of the season, as written, and like this is envisioned as a 2-season show.
Yeah.
So I do have a little. It's tricky to judge how well the ending ends without knowing where things are going to go. I mean, I think it does, like, it's an interesting tease, but as far as like what it actually, how all of it will play out and be resolved, it's hard to say.
Yeah, I mean,
I think it's tough. It's a tough needle to thread, is like the story that they have presented.
Yeah, and like it's crazy because, well, from an even more macro like MCU perspective, if Kang is like the big phase 4 villain, and this is like the little teaser for him, and then your friend's got to tell you, man, you got to watch Loki. The implications are crazy. Like, we don't even get enough of that for me to get stoked. And like, I was a fan of the Jonathan Majors performance. I really like that. It's just like the allocation of time and resources across the 6 episodes. I'm like, I kind of wish this was like kind of different. Even if there was like, I don't know, like we have to get out the whiteboard and draw the line from like 2012 Loki to Kang. Like, I'm not saying that, obviously. Maybe not obviously. But like, Kang could have been like, I don't know, if he's doing like cheeky Kang, he's like, Loki, Sylvie, here's what I'm going to do, because I know what's going to happen next. I'm going to put you in a little time hole where you get as much time to talk about as you want, and then when you can decision, get back at me. And then Sylvie's like, fuck that, and the next thing you know, like, they're in a little time hole. Like, I just wanted a little more of, like, to have to happen where, because it seemed, oh man, I'm, okay. I'm not gonna call Sylvie a Mary Sue. However, it really just...
Oh, boy.
Oh, no.
Let's say he's not going to do that, so go on.
Yeah,
DJ.
I'm not
It's
going to
still
do
worth it.
that. But I will say that, like, Sylvie doesn't have any problems that she can't overcome. Am I right? But not Mary Sue, not in a Mary Sue way. I'm just saying, like, man, it would have been nice if the god could have, like, put some obstacles in the way of, like, yeah, Loki's a god, ha 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 ha, but, like, actual god in front of just, like, these posers. Like, I don't know. Like,
Well, that's
talking
the
about
problem,
hangers.
or that's the conundrum, is that the only thing standing between Sylvie and her goal is Loki. It's not Kang.
But she
if it was
doesn't give
Kang,
a
it'd be
fuck.
stupid.
She doesn't. She's ready to kill Loki. She's ready to kill him. There is
Well,
no
I mean,
conflict in her
I don't know
heart.
about that.
I agree with Nando where it's like it becoming a thing between the two of them is not a bad idea. Like that is a conflict that, you know, works in the abstract. I just think this specific execution of it is dramatized very poorly.
I feel like we're like a weird Venn diagram of where this did and didn't work. We're all kind of like, which is good. It's like, hey, what a complicated show, and hey, it makes you think. And maybe it fell on its face. I'm not saying it fell on its face, but maybe it reminded me of the end of the second Hobbit movie where Smaug's like, I'm gonna fucking burn down Lake Town. Let's go. And, you know, whatever. It's fine.
Oh man, when
Smaug's
are we going to do the Hobbit movies, guys? Those movies are bad.
I mean, we got new Lord of the Rings stuff coming out.
That's
in, like,
true. We can do a road
the
to...
future.
Can't
so
wait for that
then-
show to fall on its face, eh, fellas?
Yeah, speaking of things that'll never come out. I mean, they're working on it. But,
No, I don't know. It's like it's tough. You know, it kills me because the show really was amazing, and the ending left a sour taste in my mouth. Like, I couldn't say like full throat, like amazing show, no issues. I'm like amazing show. I got like 10 pages of notes, all based
feel
on
like
the
we
last
will-
episode.
I'm interested to see, I don't know when Loki Season 2 is coming out, but I'm interested to see, looking back, how much we're like, I see what they were going for there. Or, like, if it's like, they really didn't know what they were doing. Or, like, they were just kind of grasping at straws. Or Kevin Feige came in and wrote all the Kang stuff and was like, you gotta put this in now. But, I don't know. It's a weird one. I mean, this character is something. I don't know, what do you think he's gonna do? Where do you think Kang goes from here, besides the Ant-Man movie, which does not feel
I
like an
know,
appropriate
right?
use of his talents?
Well,
Right.
It seems that some version of Kang has created the TVA again.
Yeah, classic costume Kang, too. Like, robes and everything on that statue.
Probably
so,
blue
like,
face and whatnot. Yeah.
yeah, I wonder if he was going to put on the mask. I kind of wanted to see it. He's a
I
good
don't think
nose,
in a-
but I want
in
to
a
see what it looks
universe-
like.
In a universe that has Nebula, I think it would be very insensitive for him to do Blueface.
Right? I like
And Ronan.
and Ronan. Well,
Can't
Ronan
remember.
is doing Blueface, yeah. 'Cause he puts on that makeup or something. I fucking right.
What?
He is dyed blue in the show, in the movie. Like, he wakes up as white and then goes blue, or is he
No.
blue
Well,
the whole
yeah.
time?
No, he puts on like
don't know.
he puts on black like eyeliner and markings and stuff. He is
So
blue.
he's blue. Yeah, I
He's not
guess he
doing
would be a blue
Blueface.
Kree. That's true.
Yeah.
Yondu is blue. Yeah, there's a lot of blues in this one. Might be a little too many blues if you ask me. When are we gonna get the green space people? I guess we have a couple of those too.
Gamora.
Yeah,
Drax,
Gamora,
kinda,
Drax.
yeah.
Drax is like closer to a gray, but yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't call Drax green per se.
I've heard Drax in the comics. He's green. I've heard him described in the movies as gray by like the people that make them, but he is definitely a greenish gray. And that's it. There's probably some other greens. Hulk is green.
Hulk is green, yep.
Mantis, not really green, sometimes greenish. Wears a
Isn't
green
she, like-
costume.
Is she like yellow?
Yeah, she is. She's got a weird like skin tone like set up because but in the comics, I want to say she's like green. And I feel like there's certain shades of that came through. But I'm not positive about that. Maybe she's not. No, she is green. She's usually green. I'm sure they just sat down and were like, too many of these fuckers are green. This one's gray. This one's not green at all. Yeah. Either way,
We
great
loved
show.
it. No notes.
Loved it. What did we think of Owen Wilson? Speaking of stuff.
I think he was cheated. We'll put him on a fucking jet ski. I really don't want to let this go. I really think
I
it's
would
a
say-
shitty thing to bring up and not pay off on.
I would say I'm pro-in Wilson.
Yeah. And then his, what's her name? Ravonna. She was interesting, too. She's not so bad.
By the way...
I'm on record as praising where they were going with her in episode 5, and now I'm like, I wish you did a little bit more. I wish you gave me a little more. Well, that scene with Owen Wilson was good, but, like, what is she doing?
She's going to be Kang's girlfriend.
Search of free will. Yeah.
I mean, okay. If we're gonna
I feel
talk
like she probably wouldn't like Kang based on what we've learned about her so far.
Okay, so obviously, if we're going to talk on a pure plot speculation level, Miss Minutes gave her some stuff that Kang wanted, so obviously she is part of whatever, before he was killed, his secret plan to still come out on top, even if Sylvie killed him. That's what she's off doing, something related to that. Even if she doesn't know that's what she's doing, that's what the information he gave her is leading her to.
It is nice that they did a little jump scare with the clock. That was fun.
Right?
No, thank you. Were you a little like, oh god, is it the fucking clock? Because I
had half a second of it. I was like, I went like, yes, and I'm like, wait a minute, this is just an exposition dump.
Not even for a fucking second. Not for a fucking second. What? I think that.
The one who remains is going to offer you a choice, JK.
See, this is a much better Miss Minutes than earlier, DJ.
Thank you.
That was very good.
Thank you.
I think you needed to be saying Miss Minutes words. I think that helps.
It does help,
yeah. So, Diggins, you think WandaVision is better than this, or like has a better...
I like WandaVision more than this. Yeah. WandaVision is more inconsistent. I think it has higher highs and lower lows.
I think that's fair. I think WandaVision episode 2 is still my favorite one of these. But I do think episode 5 of this is up there for me.
I think 4 is the best one. I think episode 4 of Loki is like masterpiece television.
4 is good. I feel like 5 with all of the Lokis I'll remember that more.
Yeah.
Like that'll stick in my head with all of the crocodile and all
You
that
just
shit.
love the Thanos copter. It's like, oh my god, the Thanos
that was
copter.
fun.
I think you mean
fun.
You loved Frog Thor.
Throg, yep. That was all good. All of that stuff. But do you guys want to get into our classic segment?
Yeah, boy.
All right, let's get to our classic segment. Guys, do you have anything to rec? If it was in the MCU, that would be great, since this is MCU Palooza. But if you don't, we'll take it anyway.
Oh, man, this is hard, because everything I watched is, like, stuff you guys wrecked. You think I would have taken the time to, like, think about what I should wreck, right?
You would think so.
Yeah, especially and with that, like, long multi-hour break we took between ending the segment on Loki and starting this Rex segment.
I was too busy watching sweet basketball coverage. Go Bucks!
Wow, okay, hold on.
Oh my god.
I was being accused of Bucks bandwagoning mere hours ago. And now
I
this...
I could root for them. Come on, let's be reasonable. I'm allowed to root for the Bucks.
I'm not telling you can't root for the Bucks. I'm saying that you can't tell the person who has said that they're a Bucks fan, even though they don't really follow basketball for several years now, that they're bandwagoning, and then turn around and abandon your beloved Knicks for the Bucks in the finals.
You know what? Giannis, like, it really won me over. It really, really won me over. I have, like, a really weird rec. All right, work with me, guys. All right, it's late. This is, like, a fucking 3.5-hour podcast. It's okay. Real quick. I think you should leave. I stole that from Diggins. It's good. You should watch it. Whatever. The X-Men series that Nando talked about last week with Rogan Sink, stealing that from him. I bought the first issue from my local comic store. I actually went to there's a place I moved to. There's a place in Cedar Grove, New Jersey called Time Warp Comics and Games. Shout out to them. Huge game collection, huge comic collection. I'm obviously not wrecking that because that's stupid. Like that one time I wrecked a park. But I went there over the weekend. It was, like, really good. Also found a great new sushi place. So many things by me. I'm rambling. But, okay. It's just, like, roll with me. Have you guys ever been to Aldi, like the supermarket?
Yeah. I'm aware of it.
Aldi fucking rules. I went to an Aldi for the first time on Sunday. No, shut
DJ,
up. Listen, shut the fuck up.
I want you to know that I literally today, like this afternoon, had a conversation with my sister about how much she hates Aldi.
What? How? It's amazing. How do you hate Aldi? Are they like the devil?
Ask her.
Is it like Chick-fil-A or Hobby Lobby? Like, is there something like in the background I need to read up on?
No. I mean, there might be. I'm not going to say there's not, but that's not why she doesn't like it.
Okay.
Aldi's known for stealing artifacts from other countries and putting them in their museums.
About hiring ISIS to smuggle artifacts out of other countries.
Yeah, they're not good guys.
All right.
What do you like about all TPJ? Because I don't know a dang thing about it.
So it's like really good prices, right? So their thing is like everything's like scaled down. Like they don't have like a lot of selections of stuff. It's like one brand type of thing. With the fruit quality is really good. The prices are really good. Staff's really friendly. They're super efficient. Like everything's just kind of like laid out in boxes, and like you grab like a cardboard box, just like throw all your shit in, and like they come in and they like scan all your shit like super quickly. And like
this is a
like,
wild recommendation. I am in awe of this rec.
Here's my weekend. Ready? So like moved to a new house. So we're trying to get familiar with the area. So Saturday, we got sushi and went to Time Warp and watched the McGregor fight. So there's nothing wreckable there. And Sunday, we bought a couch. We went to Target and then went clothes shopping and food shopping at Aldi. Like super boring, super domestic. So I got like nothing like to wreck outside of like I've discovered Aldi and I think it's awesome. Diggins, you got to get with your sister, find out what specifically she hates, and then get back at me because like I'm obviously a neophyte because I only went one time, but like they won me over so easily. Fuck everyone else. Aldi's the shit. But like yeah, I think you should leave an X-Men comics, which I'm like stealing from you guys. I'm sorry, it's a bad week. I just like. I can unwreck McGregor. No one gamble on him, and maybe stop watching his fights because he doesn't deserve your pay-per-view money. Because he's done. He doesn't have anything in him. He's done as a UFC fighter, as far as I'm concerned. I can't wait until like Jake Paul kicks his ass. See, I'm sorry. Like really light rec week. I'll try and do better next week. I'm really sorry.
Never apologize, DJ. Apologizing is cringe.
I think.
Yeah.
I think my lack of good recs is cringe, but I think on this show the cringe is good. That's like my line of logic.
I mean, hey, cringe won.
Cringe won. So that's all I got. I'm really
right.
sorry. I'm really, really sorry. Go to
Diggins,
Aldi.
what do you
Give
have?
them your dollars.
I mean, really quick, I will reiterate, I think you should leave season 2. I finished it since last episode.
I just read
Incredibly
that.
funny.
What?
I said starting off as in there's going to be another one.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm the one that wrecked that a week ago, DJ.
Oh, I thought it was
just to be fair to me,
Damn it.
Because I ate that up. I finished it in like a day.
That's my
It's
fault.
too much.
I deliberately paced myself. I watched like an episode a day. It was like a fine wine.
That sounds lovely.
Yeah, super funny show. Definitely watch it. My full rec for this week will be I watched the Criterion Channel does a lot of like movie curation where they'll like present themes, a bunch of movies in a theme. For this month they have one neo noir where they're presenting a bunch of different neo noirs like Chinatown with Jack Nicholson, Blood Simple, the first Coen Brothers movie.
Oh.
Things like that. But the one I watched is The Long Goodbye, starring Elliot Gould.
Ah.
Which is early 70s, based on a Raymond Chandler novel. So very classic noir premise of like guy's friend. A guy helps his friend who turns out may have done a murder. And then he's just trying to investigate, figuring out what exactly happened. Well, why is his friend's wife dead? Who killed her? Was his friend involved? And sort of spirals from there. But it's a neo-noir, as in not just like a straight film noir, which is more of a 30s, 40s, 50s era. So it's kind of I think the best point of reference in modern times for like what neo-noir is like is the Coen brothers. They have taken it in a somewhat more comedic direction, but that kind of like nihilistic pointlessness where it's more about people screwing up and like things kind of falling into place than like a clever detective solving a case. And it just has this sort of very leisurely pace to it of like slowly unraveling while Elliot Gould kind of just wanders around from scene to scene, tie hanging loosely off his frame, cigarette sticking out of his mouth. mumbling his way through snappy one-liners. It's such a mood. Like, if you can get into like the mood of it, I think it's a great watch. I think it's a movie where you'll very quickly realize if it is or is not for you. If the extended sequence of him buying cat food for his cat is just not doing it for you, then you should probably give up. But if you do kind of just vibe with that, then I think it's a really interesting movie, and I recommend it.
Nice.
Would you consider Nice Guys neo-noir? Because that sounds like the kind of movie you're kind of describing.
Nice Guy, I would say it is in the neo-noir tradition. It's a little less cynical, a little less nihilistic than a neo-noir tends to be, but it clearly is influenced by the genre.
Right. Yeah, I mean, when you said guys stumbling around with a tie that's untied, that is classic, The Nice Guys. But also...
I love The Nice Guys, by the way. Great movie.
Yeah, an absolute A+. I am recommending things that have already been recommended as well in the grand tradition of this. Besides, I think you should leave still being great, which I've recommended before. We haven't, because we recorded the last one of these not too long ago. I watched the werewolf movie that Diggins was talking about last week. I liked it. It was very good. I want to recommend, I'll recommend it. I watched a show on Netflix called Cat People. Have either of you heard of this?
No. What is?
I feel like I have.
It's like a documentary, like Netflix-y documentary. It's just about... So I only watched the first episode, but it's about to sort of... I assume the general conceit is just people that do a thing interesting, cat-related. So, like, the first one is a TikTok rapper who raps about his cats, and he's very well known for that, apparently. I watched the whole episode being like the guy's like, I rap about my cats, and his cat raps are like, cats, I love my cats, rap about cats rap. And I was like,
Wowie zowie.
So they got just some crazy person. And then so I was like, oh, is this like, what am I supposed to think about this guy? And then like 20 minutes in, it's like, and here are his 80 million followers, and like here's this, and I'm like, oh, I guess I just don't know who this is, but this is like a guy.
Damn.
But it's an interesting watch. The first episode, I thought it was interesting. I really don't know. You know what I'll wreck from back in my past, but is now back for some reason, because there is a lot of good stuff on Netflix. Yeah, I think you should leave Too Hot to Handle, which is fun. I'm on the third episode. I'm still working on it. The Cat People show, obviously. Gunpowder Milkshake, new movie where they all shoot people. That seems like fun. They also, on Netflix, I guess, for whatever reason, brought back, and by brought back, I mean have old episodes available now, of a show called The Mole. Any of you guys remember this?
No.
I vaguely recall this at the time, and also have seen people talking about it being up again.
Yeah, it rules. If you watched it at the time, I think a lot of people watched it. People I've talked with that have been like, oh yeah, I loved The Mole. But it was a show, it was kind of like The Amazing Race, but everybody was on one team and they were going globetrotting, doing missions, and the whole bit was one of the people is secretly working for the show to sabotage the missions. And the team has to figure out who that is, but also they can't trust each other. Anderson Cooper hosted it before he was like, I mean, he was still like Anderson Cooper, super rich guy who used to intern for the CIA. But before he was like the biggest name in news, he was the host of this weird little ABC show. And it's pretty fun.
Huh.
And it is on Netflix for some reason. I cannot help but recommend it.
Curious.
Yeah. Besides that, I don't know. There's not too much. Like, I feel like the comics, there's not a lot of new ones of those. I picked up some. I picked up the first issue of a show called The Nice House on the Lake by James Tynion IV, which is supposed to be very good. It's some sort of horror thingy. So that's interesting. You know what I did read? Speaking of things I read, I'll throw this in here. I read the first 4 issues of a comic called Nameless. Which I only read because I saw an image of it and was like, that sounds fucking wild. And basically the premise is it's like Constantine, but it's not, because like it's, some other thing. It's by what's his name? The guy that writes everything. They I guess their name. Like, I feel like Grant Morrison. It's a Grant Morrison book, 6 issues, nothing crazy. The premise is Constantine is called into space but not Constantine, like I said, guy named Nameless, called into space because there is a, asteroid coming to Earth that also seems to have something to do with angels or the devil or something. It's got all kinds of weird markings on it, and they're like, you're the guy we call for this, so come into space, help us figure it out. It's run by, and the reason it was relevant this week, the whole, operation is run by a group of billionaires that call themselves the Billionauts, and they're astronaut billionaires. And it goes it's a really wild horror comic. And, issue 2, you learn that the billionaires have all been possessed by the devil and are secretly killing everyone in space. But it's not just like Aliens, because it's even weirder than that.
That's what's going to happen in real life, too, right?
Exactly. Yeah, we're going through it. So watch out if the aliens recruit, or if the rich people recruit you to go to space, because they cannot be trusted. But you still probably should go because it seems important. Because some of them survive. But yeah, wild book. So that's called Nameless. But I can't fully recommend that. I will say this is the second time this Black Widow experience where I saw people watch the trailer for Old in a theater. My favorite. I could spend all day doing that. So good. I can't wait. That movie comes out in a couple weeks, too. We got to do that one. Yeah.
Do we have to?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's going to be so fucking stupid. Oh, my God.
Now,
I can't wait.
Am I allowed to just read the Wikipedia summary? Because that's my ideal way of experiencing this movie.
Do what I did.
See, it's weird.
For Speed Racer?
Because... Yeah, right? It's weird because you would have to see it in a theater. I don't think it's one of the Warner Brothers ones. So, I don't know. Because I don't want to make you see this in a theater. But it's going to be so fucking stupid.
But there's no choice, right? That's...
Yeah. I don't think we can do this in, a couple of months when it's on VOD. But maybe we could do that. But also, I feel like the twist of it or whatever is going to be the weird part. And
wait, what? What do you mean?
Whatever's going on, whatever's making them old. Because in the book it's nothing, but in this it's definitely going to be something. So whatever.
Doesn't Olds bump up against something else? Doesn't Olds? Well, see,
look at Space Jam. Old.
Well, it's Space Jam. Snake Eyes.
Oh yeah, fuck that. Snake Eyes, awesome. Yes, karate.
It's
more.
So ready? I can do this. It's Space Jam, Snake Eyes, Jungle Cruise, Suicide Squad. That's the next 4.
Oh my God.
I know.
We're so lucky.
I know. So is there even room for Old in that lineup?
Maybe it's something we will check on after the fact. So but I don't know if I'm going to go see it in the theater, but I feel like I really, really, really want to see it.
See, Michelle wants to see it, and I don't because horror. But if you're saying we got to do it for the pod, I'll do it. But I'm just saying it doesn't seem like there's time. Right, cause
I don't think it will actually be scary. I think it's just going to be suspense. But it's not like there's monsters in the book. I mean, maybe there are in the movie. Who knows?
My expectations for how scary it's going to be are severely lowered by the shot in the trailer. That's just 2 people sitting in a cave, and then the jump scare is that there's a music scare and the camera moves a little, but nothing seems to actually happen in the actual screen movie.
It's just editing. Yeah.
It's purely just duh! That's the whole scare, is that there was a scare chord. Nothing else even happens.
I mean, there's something wrong with that beach, you know? There is. You're so old. You aged 5 years. You have wrinkles.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Yeah, it's going to be fucking insane.
All right, well, we're going to figure out where to squeeze it in between Space Jam, Snake Eyes, Jungle Cruise, Suicide Squad.
Am I crazy for kind of maybe looking forward to Snake Eyes? I don't know.
No, I am too, but for train wreck purposes.
It might be cool. What if it's cool? What if the director just uses this weird little G.I. Joe movie to make a cool martial arts action movie?
Here's my thing.
Now, you see, the problem... No, you go, DJ.
I was just going to say, why the fuck are you casting... gorgeous, beautiful man, Henry Golding, as character with mask on all the time? I know it might not be in this movie, but in future movies, it's I guess it's Henry Golding. He's wearing the mask. What the fuck?
I mean, it's the smartest move they can make.
Is it?
Because if they're this guy's going to be the shit in 5 years, they don't even need to get him to go to those movies. He could be in all the movies, and he just has to do voiceover. It's a solid move, but also,
I guess.
I feel like the fun of what's his name of Snake Eyes was that he never took off the helmet.
Yeah.
So I feel like if we have a Snake Eyes that takes off the helmet, he'll probably always take off the helmet. It's probably just a motorcycle helmet at this point.
Wait, did Snake Eyes have like a big Boba Fett straw that he could pull out of his helmet so he could drink?
I don't remember that, but it's very possible. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, it does have the most handsome man, Henry Golding.
Great.
Although, while he is very handsome, I feel like a lot of it's voice for me. Like he's got a very charming voice. So maybe they just went like, all right, we're gonna do a Snake Eyes movie. So let's get the guy with the best voice. And they got him, and it was like, by the way, he's also the most handsome. And they're like, well, fuck, we wanted the best voice. We're not gonna not pick him because he's handsome. So
Yeah, that's fair.
maybe that's what happened.
fair.
But
We can't discriminate against the handsome. They've had it too hard for too long.
exactly. Well, I mean, to be fair to Henry Golding, he was in that stupid movie. It was a rom-com around Christmas.
Yeah,
Yeah, so maybe he needs a win. Let's give him a win, guys.
This might
Come
not
on.
be the win.
He might be the win. It's gonna be great for him. I'm very excited. This movie might suck, but who knows? It might be great.
Diggins,
It
you're
might
going to
be
say
stupid.
something?
Oh, I was going to say, like, maybe it will be a really cool martial arts movie. The problem will be that the half hour of studio-mandated scenes setting up the G.I. Joe cinematic universe are going to suck really bad and ruin the movie.
See, I think that will be very fun. It's like when he's doing cool ninja shit and then just like fucking G.I. Joe walks in and is like, here's the G.I. Joe initiative. Like that as like it's like a dark universe level. I think I'm going to really enjoy that part too. But also I'm hoping just the action is genuinely fun. So overall, it is an enjoyable experience, but for very different reasons at different times. But either way, we'll see. We got a week. We got to get through the fucking Looney Tunes movie first. So,
Let's go, Space Jam.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
I'm going to a Space Jam watch party.
Oh my God!
I
Don't
know.
drink the Kool-Aid at that. That is going to be it's not going to be a good
No,
look.
it's going to be Jay Dykstra music.
Man.
We're going to watch Space Jam and then watch Game 5 of Bucks Suns. It's going to be great. So excited.
Are we sure that it's going to happen?
Which?
Game 5.
It's the next one. So
Well,
yes.
it already had to because the Bucks had won one game, and now they've won two, so it's tied.
Okay.
So yeah, now it's going to be a great game. But yeah.
I don't know. I have a feeling this Space Jam movie might be something.
Let's go.
But it will be fun, and we'll talk about it next week. Anybody have anything to plug? DJ, we'll start with you.
Same deal. Check out Roses and Rejections. Covering The Bachelorette. The episode that comes out this Friday will also be covering Too Hot to Handle, and probably talk about the trailer for F-Boy Island. It's like I've been saying this for weeks, but the dating shows are just everywhere. It's going to be crazy. And just check out Roses and Rejections for all your awesome reality show coverage with me and Michelle.
Great stuff. Diggins, what about you?
Just the usual. You can see my newsletter at alittleperspective.substack.com. Also stream. I swear I do stream sometimes at twitch.tv/thisisanodname. Had a busy couple weeks. Get back to it soon, hopefully. Stream mostly Disco Elysium. Other stuff too.
Cool. Besides videos and stuff, I also do streams. I might do a stream. I was thinking about this. A stream of where I just like rank all the Lokis, every version of Loki, and just like which ones are good ones, which ones are bad. The problem is they're all great, so I don't know what to do. So I might not do it, but if I do, it'll be at twitch.tv/NandoFeeMovies. Besides that, though, videos and stuff. That's usual stuff.
Sweet.
Until next week for Space Jam 2: The New Legacy. Emmy Award nominated Don Cheadle's breakout performance. We're gonna see him again as Algorithm. I am at NandoFeeMovies on Twitter.
I'm at Zippy by Day.
I'm at This Is an Odd Name.
Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye.
Bye. We love you.